Hello and welcome to tonight's show.
Hello and welcome to episode 195 of On the Bench, the podcast for scale modelers, by scale modelers, all about scale models. And this episode is being brought to you by our latest Patreon supporter, Greg Lester, and our continuing Patreon supporter, Paul Pendleton Brown. You too can be just like these two fine gentlemen and help support the show. Simply go to www.patreon.com/onthebench and pledge any amount from as little as $1 per month upwards. All contributions are greatly appreciated and help us with our hosting and production costs. And of course, everybody who becomes a financial Patreon member gets an OTB sticker. But before we get on with the show, let's hear from our wonderful sponsor, Scale Modeler Supply.
Are you looking for top quality paints for your next project? Then look no further than the Scale Modeler Supply, Australia's hobby paint. Hi, I'm Scott, and as a passionate modeler myself, I've spent years creating the SMS product range, designing them specifically with the Scale Modeler in mind. We have worked extensively to develop our acrylic lacquer paint range to not only be airbrush ready straight out of the bottle, but also to be easy to use so that anyone of any skill level can create professional results with minimal effort. Just give the bottle a good shake, pour into your airbrush, and spray at 15 psi. So dive into your next project with confidence, knowing that you're backed by one of the finest hobby paints on the market. Head over to our website at scalemodeler.com.au to check out our full range and to find your closest retailer.
And hello and welcome to a slightly different show. Today I'm sitting in the studio all by myself and I've got Ian.
Yeah, 'cause you smell bad.
I've got Ian coming in remotely. G'day, Ian.
G'day, Dave. G'day, Julian. G'day, listeners.
And Julian's also remote as well.
Yes, because you guys got sick.
Well, we did get sick. We caught something, but I haven't really been sick, but I have been sick.
Yeah.
If you sort of get what I mean. And we didn't want to pass it on to Julian because Ian and I are both sick, so we didn't care.
Yeah.
So, oh, jeez. Oh, it's been a huge week. It's been big.
Oh, yeah. Been awesome.
We just, Ian and I just got back from a wonderful trip up to Queensland for QMHE up there, and we just had a wow of a time.
Oh, awesome.
And we've got a whole heap of interviews to play for your listening pleasure about all the guys that we caught up with. And it's going to be a great episode, I think.
Yeah, definitely. We had such a great time. The people up there are so hospitable and catching up with friends we've only ever spoken to online, and yeah, it's great.
And of course, Julian, you were sorely missed.
Yeah,
Probably.
No, you were. There were lots of people, especially the car modelers. Where's Julian?
Oh.
They're always asking where you are.
I had Tony Jacob messaging me this week saying, "Oh, you need to get you could get someone on from for a car model episode."
Yeah.
And I had to think about that because I was like, he was recommending some YouTubers and things like that, and I was sort of thinking, yeah, there's those people. I've seen some of them, and I wasn't that impressed, and others I was impressed, but they wouldn't want to come on our show, you know.
Oh, jeez.
And then on top of that, you throw in language barrier and time zones and whatever else, and
it's complicated, isn't it? It's really complicated.
It is complicated. Yeah. It's not that easy to sort of just grab someone if they aren't local. If they're local, it's fine. But once you factor in other countries and I'd probably be more like if I was in my mind, I would only want to get on someone that's better than me.
Well,
right?
that's most of the modelling population, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. But also, those people are probably going to be more difficult to get a hold of and less willing, right?
That's true.
'Cause in my mind, the more talented the modeler, the quirkier they get, right?
So, Julian, what have you been doing while Ian and I have been running around?
Oh, building models.
Oh, really?
Oh, well.
Yes. So that Gundam that I was, so I'd started. I had everything sort of all the parts mostly cleaned up and sitting in bags so that I could keep track of which limb was which because there's so many parts. And I was talking to Brian, and he kept sort of like hassling me about it. He's like, "Are you going to build that thing?" Or so I had a think about it, and I realized that I'd been sort of procrastinating. I mean, I already knew I was procrastinating, but I'd started putting out mental blocks.
Yep.
Because in my head, I went, "Oh, that's a lot of work, and I don't have that much time." And then I realized, oh wait, I don't have to paint this thing like a car model where I have to, you got to take care of every single paint layer with care, and then sand and polish and all this sort of, and run the risks of burning through, and then touch ups. And I don't actually have to do that. I can just go back to the old military, aircraft and armor model thing where you just flat coat something with color, and as long as it's opaque, it's fine.
Yeah.
So I just sort of, I had some good days of weather, so I spent the weekend just painting and painting and painting and painting. So I've got 2 packs worth of these alligator clips on sticks.
Yep. They're really cool.
And that's been more than enough to do anything that I wanted. Right? Technically, the first lot was more than enough. And then you would get occasional times when, maybe you would want to have 2 cars worth of bits on sticks. But this model, I had to use up all of them, take it out, paint it, then load all of the sticks up with new parts, take it out, paint it, and then do it a 3rd time.
Yeah.
I didn't even have enough space on the little cardboard things that you used to stand these things up on.
Yep.
And it's not even that complicated a kit. Like there are Gundam kits with way more parts than this.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you what.
It's funny, up at the show that we went to, excuse me, there was a Gundam retailer up there, and oh geez, those kits were just flying out the door. And watch these guys walk out. You buy a Gundam kit and it's got that huge box that you can hardly carry. I must have seen about 8 of them walk out. Just people just grabbing them and just racing off with them. It's crazy.
Well, those are the expensive kits.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. I know.
They're probably like I want to say easy like a $200 plus kits.
Yeah.
Especially in this country.
That's true. Ian, you've obviously been like me and just sort of resting, putting your feet up this week.
Yeah, watching lots of Netflix while rugged up in a doona.
Yeah.
Nothing like coming back from a 6-day break and feeling crappy the next day. You don't want to no, I brought some little friends with me.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I haven't been doing that much at all, to be honest.
Well, I've got something that I need to talk about, and I'm really, really outraged by this. And but before we go any further, let me play the clip, and then you guys can feel how outraged I am, and I'll let you know what I'm going to do about it. So just stand by a sec. Hang on, let get queued up and play it.
I guess the other thing I want to touch on is kind of tongue-in-cheek, since you mentioned Digger Dave, is the Moosearoo Cup.
Yes, which officially started August 3rd.
That's right. Well, we need a judgment from the Hamilton crew.
Yes.
Based on this assumption that the builder who flubs last year's Moosearoo Cup gets the redo the following year.
Are you throwing shade at anybody in particular here?
I'm busting on Julian a little bit.
All right.
Your guy flubs his turn. You got to move to the next guy. he gets to wear the scarlet letter for the number of years between himself and the number of hosts you have on your podcast. I mean, it's like American baseball. You strike out, you don't get a do-over. You got to wait the entire rotation before you get to go to bat again. There are 8 guys in front of you before you get a shot at redemption. So what's that all about?
Yeah, but on the other hand, what happens if Julian fails to finish twice, man?
I think Dave's got to kick him off the podcast.
You think so?
I don't see how. That's going to be a hard one to live down there.
Well, that tells me I definitely need to get started on the Moosearoo, man. I don't want to take a chance like that.
So if Duncan and Company wants to give us a judgment, I'll accept whatever they say, and I'm just busting chops. It's all fun.
Yes, absolutely. The Moosearoo is just done in good spirit and fun among the podcasts. And part of the fun is us ragging on each other about the Moosearoo.
Well, as you can see, I'm absolutely outraged that some banjo-plucking hayseed hillbilly from Kentucky would cast such aspersions on our fellow podcast member, Julian. Couple points here. First of all, number one, the intellectual property for the Moosearoo Cup sits with Stuart and myself, and so therefore we're more than happy to say yes, you can have a do around. Number two, I'm going to have a little side bet, and this is what the side bet is. I will send those hayseed banjo-plucking hillbillies a bottle of America's finest moonshine if Kentucky Dave beats Julian in finishing the model.
Oh, great one, throwing Julian under the bus.
Well, I'm not throwing Julian under the bus at all. It's up to Julian to stand up and protect his, I was going to say manhood, but that's perhaps the wrong word.
Dignity, maybe.
Dignity will do, yeah.
Yeah.
So there it is. The gauntlet's been thrown down. If Kentucky Dave finishes the Moosearoo Cup before Julian does, I will send a bottle of America's finest moonshine across to those two.
Well, there you go.
So let's see what the comeback is.
As a subject of this discussion, I mean, are you sure this isn't just fear on his part?
Ooh. Yeah, he's probably quaking in his little... Oh, they don't wear shoes in Kentucky, do they?
He's trying to cut down the competition before we've even begun, you know.
He's shaking in his bib and brace.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. That's just tongue in cheek, of course. We love those guys.
Of course.
But it stands. The side bet's there. It's on the table. Let's see if those two guys want to stand up to it.
I'll have to move it up the queue, I guess.
You'll have to move it up the queue, Julian.
Yep.
If not, it's going to cost me a bottle of moonshine.
maybe, I don't know. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I should put it down in the queue.
Hey, no. Oh, jeez. All right. How about we move on to our newest and latest segment, which is the Patreon Wheel of Fortune. And this is where our wonderful Patreons get the opportunity to win something. And the prize for this episode is fantastic. Rock Rozak of Detail and Scale has offered any book in the Detail and Scale series of books. And I reckon that's a pretty sweet deal.
It is, yeah. Yeah, they're great books too.
Oh, I know. It's sensational. So how about I spin the wheel? And the wheel is spinning. And the winner is Matthew O'Meara. Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, congrats, mate.
Well, Matthew, I'll be sending you a message and reaching out to you, and we'll figure out how to get that prize to you. Of course, you too can be part of the Patreon Wheel of Fortune to win some really great prizes. All you got to do is join our Patreon band, and that is www.patreon.com/onthebench, and pledge any amount from as little as $1 per month upwards. Your support helps with our production and hosting costs, and we greatly appreciate it. Rightio. Okay, let's move on to some listener mail. And the first one, I think this actually came in a couple of weeks ago, and I might have missed it. It was Jacko Scottsaria.
Oh, God, you've butchered that, haven't you?
I know, but he knows who I'm talking about. He writes in, "Hi, guys, and thanks for the answers. If you remember, Jacko was having trouble with YouTube when he was listening to us on our YouTube channel. And it was shutting down. But he says that those problems have all been solved and all previous episodes have been playing normally with the screen off, so he's one happy camper. And he says, no worries about the pronunciation of my name, especially the surname. However, Ian got it pretty good, so 9 out of 10 points to him. Some Finns even struggle with my last name, and I've had some hilarious versions, especially in the written version. So he also asked us for a list of museums which we replied to, and so he's got a whole heap of stuff to go and visit when he heads to the US. And he just says, thanks for a great show, keep up the banter. I just listened to it and it makes me build more models. I've been doing a human experiment that if it's possible do 12 models in one calendar year. Currently I'm at number 10. And need two more under construction to get finished. They're mostly 72nd scale planes, but also 3 small scale ships and turrets. And he says, all the best, keep up the good work.
Well, that's pretty good effort, 12 a year.
Well, geez, I wish I had that sort of output.
I've got one done this year, and that was it.
I think I'm a little bit better than one. I'm not really... Yeah. I'm going to try and think now how many I've done. I think I've done 4 so far.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Gary Denham writes in, Moosearoo vignette idea for Julian. Probably one not to read out, but I'm going to anyway. I wanted to share a potential idea for Julian's midget submarine vignette. Along the coast from me in Edinburgh, there are a couple of midget submarine wrecks. These things were used in the war, then towed out there and chained to a block and used as target practice by the Royal Navy. You can actually walk out to them at low tide at Aberlady Bay, and they look fantastic. Rushing, barnacled, ribs exposed, poking out of the sand, and still chained to their concrete block. I'm sure Julian has some ideas up his sleeve, but I thought it was worth sharing that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And Gary actually sent me a photo too. That was really cool. It was nice to see that.
Awesome.
So, Julian, have you got an idea what you're doing?
I do have my own idea. With it being on like a trailer. I think I mentioned it once before.
Yeah.
That's the barnacled and shot full of holes and rusting kind of version is so far at the opposite end of the scale that I work at. That's the weathering zone.
That's where you give one.
I love weathering, but I'm no good at it, and mostly because I don't really try. But yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. I've just got an obsession with keeping things clean. I guess nowadays, building cars one after the other.
Very cool. Next email comes from Simon Thomas. He says, "G'day, benchers. Just want to say, as a long-time listener, it was a great pleasure to finally meet both of you, Ian and Dave. Even though we have never met before, it felt like I'd known you guys for years. And congrats to you on your sweep of wins for your Rockets. Very well deserved. Well done, mate. And already looking forward to next year's show and saying g'day. That's cheers from Simon."
Thanks, Simon.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. That's really nice of you to write in.
Oh, it was great catching up with everyone.
It was awesome catching up with everyone, actually. And we met so many of our listeners. It was just really fantastic. Next one comes in from Chen Reed. "Hi, Dave, Ian and Julian. First of all, thanks, Dave and Ian, for coming up to QMHE. It was great to see you. And it's a shame that Julian couldn't make it." Yeah, well, it is what it is.
It's always next year.
We went really too fast where we Ian. This year was my first time entering the competition. Although I was quite certain my models wouldn't place, I was keen to support the show and give the folks something to look at. Imagine my surprise when I took bronze in the helicopter category. Much better than I could have ever expected. Even better than that, though, was seeing an on-the-bench poker chip sitting next to my fairy flycatcher float plane. I was absolutely...
that was pretty cool. I've got one in my collection. I thought that was really good. Yeah. Well done on that.
I was absolutely thrilled to receive such rare recognition. Thank you, and may your pods be forever cast. That's from Chen.
No worries, Chen.
Thanks,
I like your little fairly float plane. That was just awesome. It
was very, very cool. And lastly, Dave Lockhart writes in and said, hope this email finds you well. Been enjoying your posts about Queensland on Facebook. I hope it was a great show. And he sent me an attachment of Australian aircraft colours. He wasn't really sure what Facebook page he got it from, but he sent it hopefully that Ian might find it useful, so I'll pass it on to Ian. And regards to Ian and Julian, and have a great weekend and be well and happy modelling.
Well, we'll try, and thanks for the paint chips.
No problem. That wraps it up for our
mailbag.
Yeah. So if you want to write to us, you can simply send an email to onthebench64@gmail.com. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Now, let's move on to talking about the wonderful show we've just been to. But before we do that, I need to do a huge call out for all the people we caught up with. And I tried again this time to actually write the names down of everybody we met, but obviously there were a few people who I missed. So hopefully, these are the ones that I wrote down anyway. Agustin Castillo, Carl, Wayne, Simon, Matt, Andy, Luke, Ben, Alex Caravet, or Carret, I should say, Lee Collins, Danny Lapthorne, Matthew Mears, Daniel Lane and son. Now,
yes.
Daniel's son, I can't think of his name. I didn't write it down. Anyway, he had Ian, you talked about what he had.
It looks like a 148 scale Nash horn in a winter scene. And I'll tell you what, for a young fellow, he did such a nice job on it. Nicely weathered. He chose the colour of mud correctly. And, yeah, so, no, he done well. And he was I had a bit of a chat with him. He was, he's a good up-and-coming modeller.
Yeah, there we go. And he also got one of our poker chips, didn't he?
He did, yes. Well deserved, too.
Oh, absolutely. And the last shout-out goes to Muzz, who wrote into us via email. He was trying to organise a trip to Fighter World on our way back through Newcastle. But unfortunately, our timings didn't quite make it. But thanks, Muzz, for thinking about us and sending us
another person you missed, someone who we've been itching to catch hold of, one of the original listeners, Diddy Luton.
Yes, of course. How could I forget Diddy?
Diddy Luton.
Yeah. And
such a nice human being.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. It was really great catching up, and actually a bit of an emotional sort of catch up for us both, actually. So yeah. And
he was one of the very original listeners.
Yeah, 100%. And Tony Jacob, of course.
Yeah,
our time was short, but it was good to see you.
It was memorable.
All right, how about we launch into some of the people we spoke to up at the Queensland Model and Hobby Expo. And I hope you guys find this interesting. So here we go. And we were just wandering around minding our own business. And who did we bump into? Of course, Mr. Stuart Rolfe from Black Hat Scale YouTube channel.
Yay!
Yay!
And, of course, we're going to thank you. You took us out to dinner last night.
Yeah.
And very generously sort of paid for our dinner and our beers.
Fed us.
You're more than welcome, gentlemen.
Which is very cool.
Yes.
Come to Queensland. We've got to look after you.
We have been well looked after, I must say.
Everywhere we've gone so far, the food's just been amazing.
It's been a really good weekend so far, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's been awesome. Absolutely loving it.
I'm not travelled here and I'm putting on kilos just thinking about what's happening.
Exactly.
Well, I'm going to share with the audience because I bumped into Ben Flood and Ian sitting down having lunch, and then Stuart came along, and for lunch, I'm just going to say this, you had banana bread and a beer.
I did. The cabinet was slightly bare after all
champions.
of you. You guys had been through before me and cleared them out, so I didn't have a lot of choices.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Banana bread and beer.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Look, I've tried it now. I can tell you that it wasn't as bad as you might think, but I'm not reaching for it again.
Mate, we're in your backyard, so and we're going to say we're very impressed with this show. This show is absolutely awesome. Can't get over how many vendors there are. Can't get over the quality of kits on display. Can't get over the stuff like we don't normally see, like big the truck dudes here with all their models.
Like, where else are you going to see road train dioramas?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even know they existed, and it's just blown my mind.
Yeah. No, we were talking earlier, and it's apparently not something that you guys see in Victoria.
No, not at all. No.
Welcome to Brisbane. They do say we're a big country town, so
Yeah.
there you go, road trains.
But road trains are just so awesome.
No, it's been it's a great show. I've had a look around myself here today. They tell us that this is the largest number of entries they've had for QMHE.
Yep.
Nice.
Little under 700, so that's a pretty good show.
Yeah, it's a
It
very
is
good
a very
show.
good show. And a ton of vendors. And it's just not like the same type of vendor being copied all the way down. No, we've got
A whole range.
people selling Lego. We've got people selling figures. We've got people selling books. We've got model nerds down the back corner selling second-hand kits. And they must have a couple of thousand kits in that back corner.
Yep.
You've got people selling tools. You name it. You've got guys there selling dice for wargaming. You've got Gundam.
And also got your clubs on display here too.
Yeah.
So your clubs here, like Brisbane Toy Soldiers, I think the name of the club is.
Yep.
Where they just do I'm assuming it's wargaming type stuff.
They're totally a specialist club that does literally toy soldiers.
Yep. And you've got a whole heap of other clubs here just displaying what they do, and it's just great to see that range and breadth of things. And the Gundam builders, they're here in force as well, which really warms my heart.
There's a big display of those in the entries as well, so certainly a growing genre.
Oh,
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, it is.
That's the thing. We say it's a growing genre, but it's been around for 30 years, and it's been bigger than normal scale modelling for that time. And I think it's us who are becoming more aware
we're
of
now
them.
starting to take notice.
Yeah, I think we're starting to wake up to the fact that there are other things out there that maybe we haven't been a party to before.
You know, things happened after World War II.
Exactly.
So what's caught your eye out on the tables?
There's some really good entries, so I've had a bit of a walk around the floor.
Yep.
I'm going to say in every category there's some outstanding, well-finished models. So it's a very broad range, a great depth that's in there at the moment. I probably shouldn't name anything specifically, but there's a couple of aircraft that have caught my eye. Actually, I will. There's one which has two F-111s.
I mentioned that before. Yeah.
Dave, Blue Dave of mine. Yep.
That's outstanding. They're well finished, great subject matter.
Yeah.
In flight too. So Mr. Becker, wherever he is.
Yes, he's coming on the show later.
Oh, okay. So I don't want to steal your thunder, mate. One of the things which I have bumped into today has been Jason from Manscale Models. And
I've got to catch up with him.
Jason's done, he's completely finished, I believe now, the upgrade kit for the 116 Abrams, and we've had a look over that, and he's...
That's for the Australian fit out?
It is, yes. The detail in those parts is outstanding. I can't believe he gets the detail he does out of a 3D printer with those, but they're brilliant. And I've posted to my own Facebook tube today his announcement that in a couple of weeks he's going to come out with the pricing and the formal release on that kit. So that should be exciting.
Yes.
Very, very good.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And speaking of your YouTube channel, which is?
Black Hat Scale Models.
How's that been tracking?
Fantastic. Last time I was on the podcast with you gentlemen, I had less than 1,000 subscribers. I'm around 4,000 now, so that's not bad in a few months.
Yeah, that's very good.
Some great feedback from some of my subscribers on the work that's happening there, and we're talking about some things to come for the rest of the year.
Good.
And I'll be stepping away on a couple of projects from my usual World War II German armour.
Oh,
so
good.
Even I'm learning something.
So I'm going to see you building a real space rocket maybe, or
I reckon
an aircraft, or...
No, keep with the armour, but just try a Copper State Models kit.
Actually, Copper State Models does interest me a lot, I will say.
Yeah.
And I do have a couple of aircraft kits coming, but they probably won't feature on the channel because they're 132 scale, so maybe longer term builds. But we'll look at some smaller 172 and 148 aircraft. I've got some ideas there. Yeah.
That's right, because we discussed about one earlier today.
We did indeed.
Which
that
will,
might have a
between you and me.
yes, Pacific War theme.
Yeah.
Yeah. So without letting the cat out of the bag, we'll keep that a little bit secret. But we're looking at a Japanese plane with a liquid-cooled inverted engine. So there's a hint for those who are pretty familiar with it.
Well,
I've got no idea.
Well, originally one. There was only one.
Yeah, true. So there you go, the B-29 killer. So somebody will know what I'm talking about.
Okay. All right, Stuart, great having you on the show. Thanks for dropping by and saying good day. And
before I go, I've got something for you, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So
So you got
I know you weren't aware that this was coming, but here you go. I need to get it out of my bags because they're a little bit weighty. Ian, one for you.
Oh, what do we got?
Dave, one for you.
excited.
Pass it over. And I've got one for you to take back for Julian.
Sweet it. Black Hat Scar, and it even says Ian's mug.
Yes. So we launched.
Thank you very much,
We
brother.
launched the merch a few months ago, and I got you guys a custom coffee mug each with your name on it.
that is so cool.
sensational.
Well, these are going to stay at Dave's place.
Yeah,
because
so we
this is
have
what
coffee.
we're going to have our coffees with every recording.
Fantastic.
So when we're recording, we're going to be drinking out of your mugs. Thanks, buddy.
Oh,
No
thanks,
worries.
mate.
That
That's
is
awesome.
so appreciated.
Glad to see you here, guys. Hopefully we see you again next
Yeah,
year.
and don't forget,
definitely.
it's a great YouTube channel. So
Yes.
where can you find it again?
You can find me on YouTube at Black Hat Scale Models and on Facebook at Black Hat Scale Models.
Awesome. Thanks very much, mate.
Very cool.
Cheers, guys.
Catch you.
See you, mate.
And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce Neil Yan from Hong Kong Models. Hello, Neil.
Yeah, it's good.
And welcome to the show.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
We're very excited to see you here at the Queensland Model and Hobbies Expo.
Yep.
And very excited to see some of the kits that you've brought along, in particular the Boston, or as Ian and I have been discussing, is it the Havoc?
It is the Boston.
It's the Boston.
It is the Boston, yes.
In 32nd scale?
Yes.
And it is an absolute beauty.
Yes, in Australian markings too.
Yes.
Yep.
And the detail that you've got in there, on the side, you've got all like the oil canning on the side of the fuselage, and
Right.
it's absolutely beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we try to do something as detailed as possible because
Yeah.
of the model kit. I think the technology changing everything. We try to do interior detail, surface detail, and accuracy as well.
Yes.
And it's been a long trip for you, hasn't it? So
Yeah. 17 hours.
17 hours.
Yes.
So where'd you fly in from?
We fly from Hong Kong to Melbourne,
Yes.
and then Melbourne, Brisbane.
You couldn't get a direct flight to Brisbane?
No.
Oh, no.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
Weather's nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I've seen there's been a whole lot of people around your table having a look at all of the wonderful kits you've got there, because you've got the Lancaster, of course.
Yep.
You've got the B-17 there as well.
Yeah.
You got the two scales of the B25 Mitchell.
Yes.
Right.
And the B-25 Mitchell looks absolutely
Yeah,
divine.
it's a stunning
Yeah.
kit. I've got one in my collection already.
Have you really?
Oh yeah, yeah. As soon as I
good.
saw it on the shelf, I said I have to have that.
32
So-
seconds.
No, the 48. The
Good.
same with the B17F. I bought that as soon as I saw it, so I have to get the B17F. And the big question is,
Yes.
will you be releasing a B17E?
The early version.
Yes.
It's about time. I think it's all about the time.
Yeah.
It's about how we can get the accurate information from it.
Yes. Yes.
Because it's looked similar. I think from the fuselage, it's completely different actually.
It is. Yeah. The nose is totally
yeah,
different.
The nose different. The cocktail is shorter.
Yep.
I mean the tail, the vertical tail,
Yep.
and probably the part of the wing is not the
Yes.
same.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Total retool.
Right.
Yeah.
So, do you want to talk us about the process as to how you decide what aircraft you're going to choose?
For me personally,
Yes.
I prefer to make the World War II propeller and the aircraft.
Yep,
This
yep.
is my passion on it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so, because you run the company, you can decide to do whatever you want to do.
It's a part of the reason. It's a hobby.
Yeah, this is a hobby for
It's
you.
a hobby. Yeah.
It is. Yes.
Oh, what a wonderful hobby to have.
Yeah, I'd say so.
A
yeah.
manufacturing,
Yes.
plastic manufacturing company.
Yes. So I am a big fan of the Pacific War modelling.
Right.
So my question is in the future, would we maybe see some Japanese aircraft? Because there've been not that many out there in 48 scale. Like, for example, I'd like to see a Jake float plane, a Francis reconnaissance light bomber.
I think we're living in Hong Kong, so we know Pacific War more than the
Exactly.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely,
exactly. Yes.
yes.
You were there.
right. So I think in the near future we're going to make something fighter.
Okay.
Oh, right.
The
Yes.
fighter for the Pacific.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yes.
could be the Japanese subject, but I think mainly is Allies.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Like your Hellcats and your
Right.
Wildcats and Corsairs.
Right.
P40s, Mustangs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, they will be interesting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you own the company, you run it, you make the decision as to what you're going to produce next. How long does it take from when you decide what you're going to do before it actually gets in the shops? Talk us through the process.
Okay. I'm the one in charge of the company, but not all what I wanted. We need to depends on the market.
Yes.
It depends on what the modeler prefer. But mainly for me, is focusing on the World War II subject.
Yes.
Still have a lot of the subjects still haven't been done in certain scale. That's
Yes.
I like 32 second, maybe in the future 24 scale, but
24 scale.
yeah, but 48 scale that was a must because
Yeah.
for the journal market,
Yep.
it's more easy to build, easy affordable the price.
Yes.
So that will be in the future. For the development process, usually we would take 2 to 3 years
You're right.
for one
okay.
subject.
Gee, that's a long time.
It's really a long time.
Yeah.
For the that's about the most difficult time is to research.
Okay.
Of course, yes.
Research the correct subject, different variety of version, marking as well. Do the CAD is more difficult.
Yeah.
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 But I think the technology changing, really the game change. We begin at the beginning of the year. We're starting to develop a subject by the 3D scanning the whole aircraft.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So that will be really speed up the time.
Yep. Yep.
From the beginning of the 3 years now could be 1 year, or
Oh,
1 year and a half.
That's a fast turnaround.
really, really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't need to consider the accuracy because we trust the 3D scan.
You trust the scanning, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So this
yes.
is the game change
Yeah.
for the
Oh.
future.
So you then look around for where the particular subject you want to do is in a museum somewhere, and then
Yes.
you send somebody out to do the scanning.
Right. That's,
Okay.
Yeah, that's the way.
Fascinating.
Well, Neil, we're very pleased to see you out here in Australia, in particular at the Queensland Model Hobby and Expo. You got plans to come out to more shows in Australia in the future?
I would definitely come next year.
Okay.
Oh, fantastic.
good.
So because we were planning to do 22 squadrons. There were a number of aircraft.
22 Squadron.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, that sounds very interesting.
Yes. I'm excited.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you very much for being on the
Okay.
show, Neil. Really
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
And joining us on the bench now, I've got Simon Pake from Brisbane Painters Guild, Brisbane Display Painters Guild.
Correct, yep.
Terrific. And what is Brisbane Display Painters Guild all about?
So the general ethos of how we started is for anyone that wants to get better at painting. So obviously painting in the wider community, there's a lot around Warhammer and all the rest of it.
Yes.
But ours is, on top of all of that stuff, we just enjoy the act of painting, and we always want
Yes.
to get better and better.
Yep,
Now,
yep.
some of that is potentially competition and all the rest of it, like we've got here today.
Yep.
But yeah, it's also more forming the community and talking to everyone about, just how to get better and enjoying it together.
With like-minded people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you guys here in Brisbane are relatively new, aren't you? You've only been around for 6 months or so?
Give or take. I think we've had 4 or 5 meetups, so about 6 months, yeah.
Right. And is it an online community or is it more face-to-face, or do you do both?
So we do a monthly meetup. Now that's around Hendra area, but we also have an online Discord, so a lot of our general chit chat is in there, and it's a really good place where you can show what you're working on. People, just share the current projects, and if you need feedback, you just start talking and just ask for, how can I get better with this one or this one?
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Now, there's a confederation of you guys all around Australia now, isn't there?
Yeah, so a few years ago, Sydney and Melbourne put one together. Now, we've found over the last, basically this year, is everyone else has jumped on board as well. So Canberra, Adelaide, Russ, Perth, and we're trying to keep links with each other. So we've created a newsletter between all of the guilds, and we're trying to make sure we talk to the others. So if you head down to another capital, reach out to them, say hi. Otherwise, we'll try and get together for big events and competitions and stuff.
Right, yes.
Now, you're all about figure painting. You don't care what type of figure it is?
No. At the end of the day, like I said, we've got war gamers. We've got a lot of a lot of people from artistic backgrounds. We've got some people that are also crossing over to the figure modelers guys there that do more historic and military.
Yes.
We don't care what it is, as long as at the end of the day you enjoy painting and just trying to push it.
And what's your particular genre?
So I do mainly fantasy. I'm not against the other ones. It's just
it's your preference.
It's what I usually lean into. So I've got a couple out there. I've got a barbarian and an elf that are painted up. A couple of little dioramas and bits and bobs. But I'm also a gamer as well. So.
Cool.
And you've got the stand here at the show, but you're displaying some of your work. Not just your work, I'm assuming it's all from the guild. The one that really jumped out to me was that bubble baby.
So that was Shot of Paint Water created that one. I think it may have been here last year. It was at GHMX as well, which is another expo. It's a very interesting model. It's
very colourful.
Yes. I still can't get over the little baby face inside.
I know. It's very, very cool. You're welcoming of everybody.
Yeah, for
Anybody who's a beginner or even somebody who's fairly advanced, you don't really care. It's just a group of like-minded people who want to promote that side of the hobby.
Yeah, for sure. And like we are looking to help people get better. So as long as you want to keep getting better and better and better at painting, all good.
Terrific.
Sounds fantastic.
Now, if somebody wants to find where you guys are, how do they go about it?
So the main presence is probably on Instagram, is Brisbane Display Painters Guild on there. That's got a link into our Discord as well. So there is, I think that's the main one,
And just a spread of people that you got in the guild?
So we've got, at a meetup every month, we'll have between 10 and 25 people, depending on the month.
Gee, that's
that's good.
So again, like I said, everyone from people with just through uni and stuff like that who do the wargaming there.
Yes.
But we've also got probably the majority of them are 30 or over-ish. So we find it's a lot of people that used to do Warhammer way back when, and then jumping back in.
We all did.
So
isn't that usually the way?
Yeah.
We don't want to play with them anymore. We want to make big ones that look impressive.
Exactly.
Well, Simon, thanks very much for being on the show and sharing the information.
Yes.
Hopefully somebody out there who wants to get into figure painting here in Australia can reach out to you guys.
No worries.
As you said, you've got guilds in Victoria, ACT, New South Wales, South Australia, Western Australia?
Yeah, Perth as well.
Well, there you go.
So again, if you search for Display Painters Guild and throw in your capital city, you're probably going to find something.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's good on you guys.
All right.
That's
cheers.
great.
Thanks very much, Simon.
Thank you.
And we're happy to have back on the show Andrew Judson. How are you, bro?
I'm very good, thank you.
Yeah, mate. Always good. The thing I like about Andrew, he'll be searching around and he'll spot me. And he'll come straight up to me and he goes, guess what I've got?
We need
And
to
then
mention,
the whale comes down and goes, "Oh, what do you got, man?"
we need to mention your
SpecMods.
SpecMods.
Yes.
Yeah,
Great
SpecMod.
company.
SpecMod. There we
Mod.
go.
Yes.
Why do I say mods? I don't know.
Because Queensland have got me as mods.
Oh, that's what's thrown us this weekend. Yes. So, yeah, you use all figures, resin figures.
Yes, resin figures and publications as well.
Yes, yes. And what a range of figures you got. Oh, amazing.
I try to keep it up.
Yeah.
So, you know, fantasy's become a massive thing. So then I started getting the fantasy, and that's been very popular.
Yep.
But of course, I'll still get all the traditional historical from different eras. But as new stuff comes out, I try to always get onto it straight away.
Yeah. It's just, I always spend money. I don't know. Every time I see you, it's like, hey, it's a couple $100, mate.
And it's very appreciated.
It's all good, mate. All good. We'll look after each other.
Let's go towards his retirement fund.
Oh, that's it, mate.
No. Trust me, you can't live off what I'm making on this thing.
No, you never would. You never would.
Everything that comes in goes straight back into SpecMod.
Yeah. So how are you finding the show so far, mate?
Fantastic.
Yep.
I always love the Queensland show. It's got a really great positive vibe.
Yeah,
Yep.
it does.
Everyone's very happy. I think it's the weather.
Yeah, I know. Like
it's
we've
gotta be
come
something.
from Melbourne weather. It's at 28 degrees
I know.
here, and it's freaking awesome.
Well, I sent a photo to my wife, and I'm in shorts and T-shirt. She goes, "Aren't you cold?" I went, "It's 28 degrees here."
She's jealous.
She is. But no, it's just it's well laid out. I love the way you've got all the way around the surrounding outer wall. You got traders.
Yep.
And then you got that ring of traders on the inside.
Yep.
And then all the
Clubs, different club displays.
club
and then you got
displays,
this,
which are
this
excellent.
section in front of us with the competition
Yeah.
tables.
And then I just like the way it's laid out. And what I like about Brisbane too is you've got all your aircraft, so you can just walk along. If you only like aircraft and that's what you want to look at, they're just there in a great big row.
They're not split up
They're
everywhere.
not split up and scattered everywhere. It's same with figures, and it's easier too at the end of the day and the start when you're putting your kits out.
Yes.
You're not running here, there, everywhere, and you're trying to figure out.
And it'd be so much easier for the judges too.
Yeah, exactly.
So I heard you did all right.
Yeah, I just had a look and pretty much got a place in each category I entered. So
Well done, mate.
I'm more than happy with that.
Oh, yeah, I would be too.
I'm not worried if it's a gold, silver, bronze.
As long as you get a place.
I didn't even look with some of them. Like some of them, I just saw the blue card. I went like, oh, okay.
Very cool.
So I'm very happy. Like
Yep.
I mean, any place is a good result at the end of the day.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, mate. So where can people reach you if they want to get some of your wonderful resin and publications?
They can either get me on Facebook through, which is SpecMod Models Products.
Yep.
And just hit the join, and as soon as I see that, they're not some young kid that thinks I'm a modelling agency, I'll let them in. And also SpecModModels.com.
Cool.
Yeah. And you got some really, really super cool gear there. So I really
you.
recommend our listeners go and check it out.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
And the pricing's really good too.
It is.
It
I
is,
try to, out of all honesty, I do try to keep my prices very fair. I don't put crazy markups. So if you look at, say, something overseas and it's €10,
Yep.
all right, which equates to about, say, $18 Australian.
Yep.
I might put it up to, say, 20,
Yep.
25 tops, depending on the post. I never get all the money back on post. Post is horrendous. It's a killer.
It's killing at the moment, isn't it?
So I try to recover some of it, but fairly.
Yeah.
I've had people have a bit of a gripe about it, but then I'll say, well, if you're not happy, I'm not phased if you buy it direct off them.
Yeah.
But they'll normally come back because then the company overseas is charging €20.
I was going to say, or €40
To send
postage,
to send it.
Yeah.
And that's, I cop that as well, but when I'm ordering in bulk, I'm paying, €150, €200
Yeah.
to get it sent. So I've got to try to recover
Oh,
some
of course
of
you
that.
do, yeah.
But
You're
I
not
do
in it for a charity, are you?
Well, no, and like I said, I don't do it to make money for myself because I don't. It's all goes what goes into what comes to SpecMod goes back into SpecMod.
You're building
That's what keeps the business rolling.
Yes.
And mail and postage is unfortunate. It's one of those things that's beyond your control. So as much as you would like to do something, you can't because it's set.
That's right. But
And-
even when I send stuff, so I set it down as a $15 flat rate.
Yeah.
$15
That's
gets you up
cheap as anything.
That gets you up to 5 kilos worth of goods. So if someone's buying something, and it's not sneaky marketing ploy or anything, if they buy one product and they're going to pay the 15, they're going to pay the 15.
Yeah, yeah.
But if they buy, say, 2 or 3 items, they're saving.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. So keep
Because
that in mind,
they're not
people.
paying $15 each time they buy one figure. Because I've done it myself. You buy a figure and then you go, oh, I wish I bought that other one. And then you go and buy the other one and you've just doubled up.
You doubled the freight charge, yes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the quality of the figures that are on display here at the show.
Absolutely brilliant.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Brilliant.
Now, just
absolutely.
before you came on air, we were talking about how there's been a noticeable lift in quality of stuff being presented in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. I think the figure community has really grown. And I think I put that down to groups like your Figure Guild across the country, the Queensland Figure Group. They really push it out there to the local community, which is fantastic. And also social media, Instagram,
yes,
Facebook, and whatever else is out there. They're the only 2 I use. Absolutely amazing works. And what's good about it is you can reach out to these top-tier painters of the world and actually comment with them, and then you get a mind blow when they reply to you, and you go, whoa, hang on a minute. I'm just a
You noticed me.
You noticed me. And
it's like being a guitar player and you send a text message to Mark Knopfler and he replies to you, isn't it?
well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just recently I did a little ghoul from a company called Peter Punk Productions.
I saw that.
So I put that on Instagram and I tagged him.
Yeah.
And then last night I was looking on my Instagram and he's actually replied.
Oh, how cool
he's
is
put
that?
it on his page.
Oh,
and,
even better.
Oh, wow, how good's that? So
that's awesome, mate.
I know that sounds trivial, but that was exciting
for us modelers. That's a huge
especially
thing,
from
mate.
the sculptor producer.
Yeah. That's huge kudos.
I mean, I normally put my stuff out there and you might get a few likes or whatever, but that sort of makes you feel gratified that you've done it. You've done the work, and
100%.
someone who actually produced it recognised it and gave you some credit.
100%. 100%.
Too true.
The figure modelers here in Queensland, you've got some amazing figures. Like in the Painters Guild group, you've got one of the lovely ladies, Siona, who does amazing works. Trent Dennison, I think all of Australia and the figure community knows who Trent is. His work's just awesome. I mean, he was one of the inspirations for me to get into figure fantasy.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez.
He's looking at his work, so I went, you know what, I want to give that a crack.
Yeah.
And when I first started, I was terrible. And in the fantasy scene, I think I am still terrible. But I've been to some of the guilds competitions, and Canberra, they hold the CanCon.
Yeah.
Right, yep.
And I did all right. I can't complain. I got places.
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying my work's astonishing, but it's just nice to know that you get an award and
You're recognised.
You know that you're up, your work's at a level.
Yes.
At a level
which is
that
always
if you
good.
keep pushing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go into a rut and then I forget everything
we
that
all
I
do.
did.
I think we all do that.
You always get your flat spots.
Yeah. Well, even like as half the world knows, I went on a trip. And
yes, that's right.
I was gone for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And when I come back,
you have to relearn everything, don't you?
I was like a learner.
Yeah, that
Those
muscle memory
skills-
just disappears.
Those skills atrophy if you don't use them.
Yes,
The figure I did, and it's here, but it didn't place, but that was the one that got the recognition on Instagram by the sculptor.
All right, cool.
But I played it safe and just went with real simple plain colours, but putting the technique into them.
Yeah.
Yes.
But all the way through, I'm going to mess this up anyway.
So you'll be in Canberra?
Yes.
Oh,
we'll
terrific.
be in Canberra,
Yep. Awesome.
as always.
Yep,
Good.
So will we.
So I look forward to that.
Especially the nightlife.
Yeah, yeah, the nightlife's good.
It's raging.
Oh, it's great, isn't it?
All right, mate, it's been awesome having you on the show, and we'll see you in Canberra in November.
No worries. It's been a pleasure, and thank you.
No
worries,
Cheers,
mate.
mate. Bye.
Cheers.
Augustin Castillo joins us on the bench now. G'day, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Yourself?
And the reason why we have him on, because he is one of the future people of our hobby. A young
Yes.
16-year-old who's been building some cracking models
Yep.
in M113s.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Awesome stuff, mate.
Well, thank you. Yeah, just do a bit of Aussie armour. It's what I love.
Yep.
Yeah, World War II, I loved it, but it's not really my thing anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm just spending my money buying all the Aussie stuff, you know, arms core models, you know. Just,
Sweet.
yeah. Have a look at there. No, it's brilliant.
How long have you been building for?
Probably like 4 years now.
Yeah, and what got you into modelling?
I think Audi's did. I saw a little Airfix kit of a Mustang.
Yep.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
yep.
Dad and I built it up, and then ever since from there, I started with planes and then got into tanks,
Right.
and then now I just love tanks. And ever since AFV Club released that box set of the the M113,
Yes.
The Aussie one?
yeah. I thought it was really great, you know,
Yeah.
and it was just the box art on it. It was just really kind of captured the imagination for me. So
Yeah.
I just I just want to do this, you know, and and I'm still going.
Yeah, your weathering is coming on really superb, and geez, you're going to be tough competition in a couple of years' time.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Nice.
No, cheers.
So tell me, as a 16-year-old, how do you go about getting money to buy all your kits?
Well, working's probably the best part about it, you know. Mowing a few lawns. Yeah, mowing lawns, I do that sometimes. Trying as much as I can, you know. And it also gets me out as well, just instead of sitting down and
In
just...
front of the Xbox.
Oh, I don't have one.
Oh,
What?
good
Yeah,
man.
okay.
Good man. No, I like where he's going.
So I try and get out, and it's a good opportunity. Got out of work for a little bit. I'm looking for more work now. So.
Yeah, so you're still at school, obviously?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, still at school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're going through to do year 12, if they have... Did they call it year 12 up here?
I've no idea.
Yeah, they
Yep.
do. Yeah, it's a pain in the neck, but it is what it is.
Well, you've got to work and get a good job to feed that hobby, man.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You
Yeah.
need to find something that gives you a bit of coins so you can go and spend it on plastic kits.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the
that's
plastic crack.
That's it.
Yeah.
True.
So what do your mates think about modelling?
Well, I don't really tell him that much. I got one of them that's he's into planes and he collects all the Hot Wheels and everything.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
right. Yep.
But I don't really tell many people about it. Just probably people here, you know.
Yeah.
It's just, I think sometimes it's a little bit, I don't know, not embarrassing, but it's just not many people do it and they don't really understand you.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah, they kind of think you're a bit of a fool looking around with it. Oh yeah, I make tiny tanks, but that's about it.
But you could be an advocate for, your generation, just, because you must know people within your sort of peer group who do Games Workshop stuff like Warhammer and stuff, surely.
Actually, not really.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, it's surprising. I don't know many people that do that.
Yep.
I do know a lot of, two other fellas, one from ages ago, and he just kind of drifted away, and he's just, he used to do AFX kits a lot.
Yep.
And I think he just fell out of that.
Yep.
And I know another fella, he's just a bit older than me, he's probably 18, 19.
Yeah.
Yeah, he makes all the AFX, he does a little stop motion as well. And
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
That's
it's pretty
impressive.
cool. Yeah.
Well, as an old man talking to a 16-year-old guy, I'm telling you, when you get to 18, there's a little switch that gets thrown, and and there's a lot of distractions that come your way at the age of 18.
I can already see him, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. I can see the cars coming in there, you know, the motorbikes. Yeah. I'm trying to vary it up a bit as well, because sitting down at my age, I shouldn't be sitting down too much.
Yes, true.
So I do the models, but I also try and get out as much as I can. So I'm trying to do a project bike at the moment.
Oh, okay.
Oh, cool.
But we're just nothing real. It's like a lawnmower engine. We're trying
Yeah.
to make an old 1920s bike.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet
so-
as. Sweet as.
Yeah.
So, with you, whereabouts do you build at home?
In the garage. I've got this.
Oh, that's a scary thought, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's just a wee small place. It's a single car, and it's got my little workbench. Luckily, my mum was a jeweler, and I got her workbench.
Ooh.
I know.
Did you inherit some of the tools?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you
Yeah,
lucky
yeah.
You lucky bugger.
I know. I had some of the nice. What are they called? pliers.
Yeah. The jeweler's pliers and so forth. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
What's your because you've been doing some Aussie stuff? What sort of paint do you tend to use when you're painting?
I'll be honest, I eyeball it, but my main go-to is just, to me, khaki drab.
Okay.
Kind of that. And then I like lighten it or I darken it, just to get the right colour, looking at reference photos.
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking at SMS now as well.
Yeah, Scott's got a great range of Aussie colours.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. Have you tried SMS before?
No, not yet. No,
Oh. Do you airbrush, I gather? Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. SMS, great. Just shake the bottle.
Yeah.
Pour it in.
Yeah.
Paint away. You don't need to thin it.
You don't?
No.
Oh, beautiful.
And it's lacquer, which means in 5 minutes' time, it's hard as a rock.
Although, having said that, I do thin it 50-50, and the reason for that is then you can sneak up.
Because he's a tight bugger.
No.
He wants to save his money.
You can actually sneak up on the opacity. You can just build that up and build it up until you get to where you want. And, and it makes a bottle go further as well. So
yeah, very true.
But you can use it straight out of the bottle. But as I said, I find that I like to sort of tone it down and sort of build up to it. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
And the other thing with SMS too is you've got to make sure you've got very good ventilation.
Yeah,
Being a lacquer paint.
I want to be flying away during the
yeah.
Yeah. No, it's so good.
Why is my 117 talking to me, man?
Yeah. Oh goodness, yeah. But yeah, I use my Tamiya bottles and like pretty much not anything I can find. I normally like, there's a brand here called Montmartre. It's like a real cheapo brand. I use the oils from them sometimes.
Okay, right. Yeah.
Yeah, to do my weathering and all that stuff. And
well, there's nothing wrong with that because our good mate Ben Flood, who does figures, he just buys cheap acrylics.
He gets his paints from Spotlight.
Yeah.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
And you look at his work.
Oh, it's just crazy.
It
Yeah,
blows your mind.
So, you don't have to go down. The thing with modelling paints is it's convenient because it's just there, bang, you grab it, off you go.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
If you go sort of your own route, then you've got to do that little bit more work to sort of get the tones that you want.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Shades. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do understand that, but it's everyone's got their preference, I think.
They do.
That's it. Yeah, it's what you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Very cool. Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, and awesome talking to the younger generation and seeing how you guys think. Just a quick question before we finish. Any Gundams you sort of, because that's really huge in your sort of age group as well.
I actually have no interest in that.
I know you don't, but do you know anybody who builds that? Or
No, actually, no.
Oh, okay.
I don't know anyone, but I assume I've heard many people do it.
Yeah.
It seems like a pretty big thing.
Yeah, it's freaking huge.
Yeah. Oh, we're right. Our stall over there is right next to had a big Gundam set up there.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's pretty good.
Very cool.
Well, good luck. So remember that name, Agustin Castillo.
That's me.
And do you have a Facebook page or? I know you post on the bench or on your bench. No,
not really.
Okay.
I was kind of thinking about it, but it's just like I'll just keep going on the random pages I'm on.
So keep your eyes out, fellas.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me on. I love the podcast. We listened for ages.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you. Yeah,
Appreciate that.
It's great. Love it so much.
All right,
no worries, buddy.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Have a
mate.
good one, guys.
Bye. And I've been dying to get somebody on from the Rockhampton Scale Models Association, and we have Ashley Bergroff.
Yep, that's correct.
Did I get that name right?
Close.
Yep.
The reason why I'm so keen to actually have you on, Ash, is because you guys have a show that you have up there in Rockhampton, which is done in a pub.
Yeah, that's correct. Criterion Hotel in Key Street in Rockhampton. So
that sounds awesome. We've got to get there, Dave.
Tell me, how do you run a model show out of a pub without sort of walking out of it legless?
Well, we do generally stick there all day and then have dinner. And most of us, even though we live in Rockhampton, we actually have we stay in the motel that night. So we just go from the model show, put our stuff in the car, and then go.
Have a fun time. Oh, it sounds awesome. Dave, we're going. We're going, Dave.
So it's just the thought of a model show in a pub. It just sounds so dangerous to me.
Yeah, well, as soon as the bar opens at 10, you can go get a beer straight
10
away.
10 a.m. The pub opens at 10 a.m. The bar.
Yeah, the bar does.
Oh.
It's Rockhampton, dude. It's warm. You got to have a beer.
Oh, jeez.
Dave's having trouble here.
Some thoughts going through my mind. It's not a judge show. You have People's Choice.
No, so it's an NNL show. So basically all the entrants, if you enter a model, you get to judge the other models on the table, whether you're in that category or not too. But obviously you can. There is a little, could be bias, but if you've got your modelling, you're judging every other category, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's pretty good. A lot less stress than an actual judge model show.
Well, you don't have to organise anything. You just say roll up at this pub on this date, and that's it.
Yep. But no, it works out pretty fair. Generally, most of the time, like the model that'll come first, you go, yeah, that deserves that.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily. Sometimes you look at it and you go, the best model that won or got first, it's not necessarily the best model, but it's the most eye-popping one.
Yes.
Like, if I get a car builder judging aircraft or judging military, they'll go for the thing that has the brightest coloured paint. Cause that's what they used to build in.
That's right. Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about Rockhampton Scale Modelers Association.
So we're not formally a club, we're an association, which means we don't have presidents. And
Cool.
Yeah, so we're pretty much just a group of friends, and that we just every Thursday night we converge and do a model build together.
Where do you converge, at the pub?
No. So sometimes it's at other members' man caves, or we do have, there's like we have like a shop that's Millennial Comics. They sell all kinds of wargaming stuff and pop culture stuff. They got a games room at the back, and we meet there sometimes as well.
That's really cool.
Oh, that's handy.
That's cool.
And they've got a bar there as well. So.
You guys have got it made. You got it made.
So how many of you in the association?
There's probably about 15, 20 of us.
Okay.
Actively,
That's a good amount.
For a small town,
that gives you a wide variety anyway.
Yeah, mostly and wide variety, like car builders and aircraft and military builders. So.
Very nice, very nice. And we're having a bit of a laugh because his mates are down on the floor there, sort of winding him up while he's up here on stage.
Yeah,
what a mate's for.
Now, had a good drive down. We sort of followed your posts as you were coming down.
A nice 800k drive down here. So I personally
800k?
Oh, about that.
Is that all?
Yeah, you can go a lot further. But the road is not very nice. Up that way.
Yeah, from what we saw, it was
kind of runs
lots
out.
of potholes and.
Yeah, because the Queensland government runs out of money anywhere north of Gympie, so.
Anything above Brisbane, we don't worry about.
Yeah, pretty much. But personally, I haven't been to the QMHE in 10 years ago. I think it was the last time I come down. It was back in when it was at the hockey, table tennis pavilion or something in Brisbane itself.
All right.
So, if anybody sort of wants living in Rockhampton and is listening to this, and they want to know more about you guys, where do they go to find out more about you?
We've got a Facebook group and a page, so either or just search Rockhampton Scale Models Association.
Yep.
I believe one of it, we've got a closed group, so if you can just join that, or request to join them, we actually have a page which you can just like and post anything you like.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Sure. And your next show is when?
It's every year we had the show's second weekend of Feb, so
right.
I think it's actually might be one of the first shows in Australia.
Okay.
It's already been gone, but it'll
cool.
it'll come up close again.
So. Always next year.
The second weekend of Feb. Criterion Hotel. It's always the same place. So.
Criterion Hotel in Rockhampton. There you go.
Yeah, you guys coming?
No, it's a bit far.
We will.
One day.
We'll get there. We'll get there,
let's
guaranteed.
not make promises that we can't keep.
I'm not saying when, but we will get there. I will.
Ash, it's been awesome having you on the show. Thanks very much for dropping in and saying good day. And really appreciate all the posts that you've been doing as well. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Thanks, guys.
No worries. Catch you, mate. Ben Montgomery Shinkle joins us now on the bench. G'day, mate. How are you?
G'day, boys. Absolute pleasure. Thank you. Very well, thank you.
And you hail from?
Brisbane. We're here in the QMHE. I'm the president of the IPMS Queensland, based in North Brisbane.
Oh, fantastic. Tell us a little bit more about you guys. What do you get up to?
We are a club of about 70 members, ranging from
70?
70.
Okay.
That's a good amount.
Yeah, we've grown a little bit in the last year or two. We're seeing a trickle of new members coming through with varied interests. We've got the old brigade, of course, the tanks, the armour, the aircraft, and today, especially seeing all the, shall we say, newer
Yep.
newer genres.
Oh, the Gundams and
the
so forth.
Gundams, the
Yep.
mechs, figures,
Yep.
which is fantastic. It's been growing. So we're getting a trickle of newer members with newer interests as well.
I think all clubs are seeing a slight uptick in people joining up and becoming members. And it's not unusual. It's perhaps a lot slower than I would personally like to see.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see a lot more people sort of coming into the club style. And the clubs are changing from what used to be, particularly I know sort of just talking to some of the guys who have been from the clubs up here, it's more of a social sort of event. It's no more sort of sitting down and reading the minutes of the last meeting and the treasurer's report and all that sort of stuff. It's evolved now more where you're just sitting around building and maybe having an ale or two and just talking shop.
That's right. We've sort of tried, and it's a slow process.
Yeah.
We've tried to bring those meetings down in seriousness and in time. We've got a timer going now between me and the secretary. We're on a mission to get it down to 20 minutes within our 3 hours that we spend together once a month.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the time we're there to socialise.
And that's what
show
people
and
want to
tell.
do. That's
exactly.
Yeah, you don't want to go there and just listen to just the droning.
And that's what
we're here to play with models. We're here to play with plastic toys.
And of course, we were just talking with the director David earlier on for the show, and your club's one of the sort of foundation clubs, I want to say.
That's right. So the IPMS Queensland are a founding member club of QMHE. We've attended every year. We've had about 10 of our members judging here last night, which we're incredibly proud of.
And a lot of your members are young members too, I noticed.
We've got about 5 juniors.
Yeah.
I like to call myself a diversity hire into the committee. I'm an early 30s man myself, and I'm definitely one of the younger ones.
Yeah.
But ages from single digits, I think still single digits, and then all the way through to into their 80s.
Yeah.
So we've got a full range of ages, abilities, interests in genres and scales.
Yeah, totally agree. That's great.
And we've got our club display down there. About another 10 or so members of ours have brought along their work. You've got aircraft and tanks and so on, but we've got a figure of Arnie down there, a bust of Arnie, in caricature. We've got some anime builds. Just trying to have a look over there from here.
I love seeing the club displays because you get a real sort of idea, or not real idea, but it's just something, because each club brings something different to the show each year, don't they?
100%.
Yeah. The club itself might have a theme, but going around having a look at all the different themes of the different clubs and then what they're putting on, it's just awesome sort of checking out the work.
Yeah.
And that sort of cross contact that we get with other people, like we're next to the Southeast Queensland War Gamers down there.
Yep.
They're young guys doing something completely different, and getting our members to sort of just take a little peek over and see what else you can do. And
yeah, that's right. Yeah, keep it interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I myself would be useless at figured painting, but God, I want to.
I
I've seen some of the work out there.
Amazing.
I did. I joined as a junior judge last year, I think it was, to do some judging for the figures, and I was just gobsmacked. Just looking at what the real judges were looking at, and what I wish I could be able to pull off myself.
Yeah. It's funny, we're talking with a couple of other people in regards to the figures, and we're just saying how much all the figures are sort of lifted in the last sort of 5 years, and what's on display now, and it's just jaw-droppingly gorgeous. And any of these ones that sort of win here could easily compete on the world stage. They're that good.
I feel as though a growing online community, sharing ideas, concepts, and techniques is what has elevated not just figures, but the community as a whole.
Yeah, the hobby as a whole. Yeah,
the hobby as a whole.
Yeah.
It's sort of just accelerated in such a huge way.
Yeah. Instagram and Facebook have got a lot to do with that.
And YouTube.
And YouTube, yes.
I was chatting with the organisers of GameX, which is the gaming hobbies model expo in Brisbane.
Yep.
They were talking about, I don't know if anything's public yet, so I won't say too much, but the sort of things that they're organising for this year, some of the attendees have got millions of followers. Now,
Oh.
we don't have that in our hobby, but,
No.
but in other sections of the hobby,
They do,
millions
yes.
of followers. So
Yes. I suppose what I put it down to is our part of the hobby for the general has always been the older guys.
That's changed.
And we are not so tech savvy. Whereas these younger kids can run rings around us on a computer.
It's funny you should say that. We did a promotional video for QMHE and IPMS together, and Chris Miller came to an interview, and I'm left there with 50 minutes of raw footage, and I'm staring at it going,
What do I do?
I don't know.
What do I do?
And we've got some new junior members, and I said, look, do you know what you're doing with video? Oh, of course. Within a day, they'd put together this fandango thing that we put on our Facebook page, and I'm just like, right, well, we had.
You've got a new job, son.
Yeah, you're our media officer.
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
So if people are in the Brisbane area and are looking to a club, how do they catch up and get hold of you guys?
So we meet at the Albany Creek State School Library. We have club meetings every third Wednesday of the month at 7 p.m. We also, and as I said, we try to keep the business side of that as short as possible.
Yep.
And mostly social. We also have a very informal club workshop, which is the first Sunday of each month at 9 a.m. And that's just a bunch of guys and gals getting together, cutting up bits of plastic, pretending like they're making something. But there's a lot of just,
Yeah, but mostly yakking amongst themselves.
Mostly yakking.
Which is how it should be.
Exactly. We like to think we're a friendly community. We want to welcome all interests, subjects, scales.
Oh, 100%. And you got to do that to sort of help grow things, don't you?
Oh,
I think so.
Yeah.
You have to.
Totally agree.
Oh, very good. Well, Ben, thanks very much for popping behind the mic and saying
Thank
good
you
day.
so much.
Yeah.
Good to see you again. Good to put a face to the name with you, Ian.
No worries at all, mate.
Cheers.
Is he what you expected?
Spot on.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. There's the first
Exactly
time
what
for
I was
everything.
expecting. I got no idea what Julian must look like.
You don't want to know.
Probably just need to go to your socials, and I'm sure there'll be a photo. of
There'll
you.
be a photo of Julian.
All right, Ben, thanks very much, mate.
Thanks very much.
And joining us now on the bench, I have Simon.
G'day.
And, of course, I've got Scott from Manscale Model Supply.
Good afternoon.
Legend.
Before we start, Scott, I have to say, awesome job for supporting the show.
No, that's no worries at all. As you know, we're big supporters of the hobby community.
Yes.
The events, without these events, there's no community. Without the community, there's no events. So we just try and help out as best we can wherever we can. And
Help out as best we can wherever we can. So I rolled up, and in the little show bag, I got a hobby knife, 3 sanding sticks, some tape.
Yep.
Washi tape, I want to call it. I won't say it to me. And also a bottle of paint.
Yes, that was an effort between us and the QMHE committee. They approached us. We've done this a few years in a row now, but this is the first time we've had a goodie bag.
Yeah.
Previous years we've just been giving away a free bottle of paint for entrance.
Yep.
And this year the guys come to me and offered, said to it, what can we do? And we offered that forward, and they went with it.
No, I just love what you're doing for the hobby and how you're supporting it. And
Thank you.
as a fellow modeler, I want to say thank you and express that publicly, because
as
the
I
way you
said-
support the hobby is just absolutely awesome.
No, thank you. As I said, it's just, if we can help encourage people to model and be happy and in their hobbies, make it as easy as possible with their products, then we'll do it. We'll help out wherever we can.
And while they've got the microphone, what are you actually doing here at the show this weekend?
Not much. For once, I'm not actually trading, because I'm usually at shows, as you know, I'm trading and sort of 10 deep at our stand, trying to withstand the fever. But this weekend I'm up here as a sort of support person for our retailers. So I've been doing demonstrations, just randomly, just doing ad hoc demos on how to spray our paints. So I've been doing a bit of spraying of a DDA kit. So I've been helping out promote the DDA stuff and our other retailers.
We had Jesse on earlier on,
Yeah.
And some exciting news coming down, some of the stuff that they've got coming in.
Yeah, we've been working closely with them on other stuff as well. So a lot of their paint colours for their Oswells, the new 64 scale die cast, we've been supplying a lot of those paint colours for them for testing. As we continue on with their colour colours as well, our Auto Colours series, with the new kits releasing from DDA, we're going to have the appropriate factory colours to match those kits again.
And here's the thing I find so exciting. We have an Australian manufacturer building Australian cars with an Australian paint manufacturer doing Australian paints
of Australian
of
subjects.
Australian subjects.
It's all
Genuine
Australian.
colours.
How is that?
Yeah.
It's a trifecta, man.
That's when they first came out and announced that. DDA announced those kits. It was like I reached out to them because it's like it's a match made in heaven, really. It's Australian companies working with Australian companies making Australian subjects. Everything's Australian, so it all added together. That we're a perfect match, and it has. We've done great things together as a partnership, like as us with paints, then with kits.
Brilliant. Yep.
And we've got Simon here, and Simon, I've been following. You've been building the Airfix Gannet.
I have. It's been a love-hate relationship. So I was racing to get this particular kit onto the competition table here at QMHE for this weekend, and found out at the 11th hour, 59th minute, 59th second that it was unfortunately a tail sitter. So at midnight last night, the model and I sat down and had some words together. And anyway, look, it's not a loss. There are solutions, there are workarounds for this. It's just there's so much plastic behind the rear wheels.
Yeah.
That, my recommendation is for anyone out there building it, look at the instructions and how much ballast they tell you to add. Probably add another 20-30% more.
So did you just put exactly the amount of ballast that Airfix recommended?
I used what I call the scientifically acclaimed about yay method. So now this could be a bit of a trap for young players. So I just basically used probably about 4 or 5 mil ball bearings as my weight, and I'm actually thinking that there's a chance that with all the airspace that you get between the ball bearings, it actually just hasn't quite done the job. So anyway, shout out to Eric at Manscale Models. He's just supplied me with my ongoing addiction. He's an enabler. So he's actually just sold me some liquid gravity.
Yep.
So I'll get home, I'll just have some time off from it, clarify my thoughts, and just basically, the interesting solution to that one is that I've modelled initially with the main nose gear doors open. On a lot of parked aircraft, those rear main sort of nose gear doors are actually shut. So I can actually create another little compartment to add probably, I reckon, about another 25-30 grams of nose weight.
Which then leads me to ask the question about how will the gear, being plastic, stand up to holding all that weight moving forward?
Well, good question. And even as it is, the main axle stubs are struggling.
Right.
So another thing that I'd recommend to people who are going to build this kit is look at a way of trying to fortify the strength of those axle stubs. My solution is going to be I'm going to get some Albion alloy stainless steel tube.
Yep.
Just basically cut some lengths that are a bit longer than the existing stubs, and just basically treat them as a sleeve to put over the existing axle. And that'll just give it the rigidity that it needs, and the longer tubing will get that further bite into the wheel.
Yeah.
I might just have to increase the bore of where the axle goes into in the wheel a little bit more, but that's cool. Yeah, but I think that'll solve some problems.
And the part on that kit that terrifies me the most, the canopy, with that getting that seam out, you said that was the easiest part of the build.
Yeah, in some ways, that whole bobble shape, it's a blessing and a curse. So it's a curse that, obviously it's got to have the mold, it's got to have the witness line through it. But because it is that curved profile, it actually makes it easier to finally polish. Yeah, so the old tried and true method, just basically a nice brand new number 11 blade, and just aids it along, and some 2500 grit Infinity sanding stick used wet in a circular fashion, then just following up with some 4000.
Oh, okay.
And that was it. So no need for any Tamiya rubbing compounds or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
Restored back to crystal clear.
And I've got to compliment you on the paint job. It looks 100% better in real life. Not to say it looked bad online, but in real life it just looks friggin' awesome.
Thanks. And, one of the guys I've got to thank is sitting right next to me. Thanks, Scott, for those fantastic products, because that actually has been painted using SMS Dark Ocean Sea Grey in the sky.
Excellent. That's good.
So thank you, sir.
No worries at all.
Yeah. Yep.
There you go.
Aussie, what we were talking about, here we've got the double. We've got Australian subject using Australian paints.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Do you know what? SMS paints have definitely turned me into a better airbrusher. They're foolproof.
Yeah, I'm the same, and I've been, talking about SMS paints. I mean, Scott's been a wonderful supporter of the podcast since we first began. I think we both pretty much, you began your business when I started the podcast.
Yeah, it wasn't much. Well, I think it was a few months after you started. That's when I approached you to be a sponsor.
Yeah.
If I could sponsor the podcast. And I think it was a few months before you started. I started the business.
And you've been a great supporter of the show ever since. And if your paints weren't that good, I wouldn't have had you on the show.
Yeah.
And they are that good.
Thanks.
They really, what he says they're going to do, they do. And it's just so foolproof, isn't it, using them?
Yeah, it actually lifts the standard of the whole hobby, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
I mean, if you look at where the average model was at, say, 5 years ago with their airbrushing and painting, like, if you were to ask the average modeler 5 years ago, what is your biggest, Achilles heel with your modelling? I reckon one of those would have come up as being, airbrushing and getting a decent finish.
Because I could never get consistent sort of finishes with my paint.
Yeah.
Whereas with the SMS stuff, I know exactly what to do. And I can either pour it straight or I generally thin it down 50-50. So I like to build it up.
I do the same.
Yeah.
Yep. That's especially if you're doing a fair bit of pre-shading and you just want to sneak up on that opacity. But no, look, hats off, mate.
Yeah.
Scott,
thanks.
Just absolutely.
That's the whole point of our range, was to make it as easy as possible, because we all lead busy lives.
Yeah.
We all have our day jobs, we all have our families, and we all have everything's going. There's always crap going on in our lives, and sometimes we want to sit down and just paint. And the last thing you want to do is sit down and just fluff around and try and work out what the thinning ratios are of this brand, that brand, whatever.
Experimentation and magic formulas. Yeah.
We make it so it's airbrushable. It's not going to suit everyone's style, so they can adjust it. But as you said, add more thinner in it if you need to. You make a smoother coat. Build up your opacity that way. That's your personal style. That's the way you do it. But we try to make it as accessible to everyone for that reason. Is because people are busy and they just want to sit down quickly at the end of the day. I've only got half an hour before I've got to go to bed because I've got to get at work in the morning. So I need to paint. I haven't got time to sit there and thin it, get the right ratios and everything like that.
Yeah.
I quickly want to spray this, so I'll just pour that and spray it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's as easy as doing that.
Yep.
And it works every time.
It does.
Every time.
Yep.
And the other thing too is the range of paints you got. It's not just the military stuff that you cater for. It's also the Gundam side of stuff and
it's everything.
Everything.
Yeah,
your Pearl range is brilliant.
Pearls and colour shifts, metallics, auto colours, a solid premium range that we cover all sorts of subjects. We've got military aircraft. Doesn't matter which country, which theatre. We've got a few different countries we obviously don't do because they're a bit rare. But the major ones are US, UK, Australia, those sort of stuff. We cover all that stuff in the military and aircraft.
And I love your colour sets too.
Yeah.
They're good value.
Yeah.
So I mean that Ozcam colour set, just brilliant.
And you don't have to think about it because you go to the hobby shop and you buy a kit and you go, what colours do I need? And you get a faff around and Scott's got 4 colours or 5 colours there in the box you can just buy and walk away with.
Absolutely.
That was the whole point. It's convenience, that is.
Yeah.
Yep.
You got to paint Ozcam. Well, there's a 4 paint set with the 3 Ozcam colours plus an interior colour. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
Done and dusted.
Superb.
How are you guys enjoying the show? This is your first time up here, Scott?
Yeah, this is the first time I've been to this one. Last year I come up for GameX, which is the new one that's just started recently.
Okay.
Are you coming up for this one in November too?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
You mean Canberra?
Yeah.
No. No. So GMX,
GMX,
which is the Gaming Model and Hobby Expo.
Right.
That's in Brisbane in November.
Okay.
Yeah, that's run by 105th Armoury, who are based in Brighton in Brisbane.
Yep.
Keelan and Jimpalo G, his name is. They've started this a couple of years ago, and it's just like a cross between your Supernova and Oz Comic Con style and a traditional model show like we're at here at QMHE.
Yep.
It's like a combination between the both. So you have a model competition, which we're sponsoring.
Yep.
Plus you've also got cosplayers and anime stuff.
Yeah,
and
okay.
the pop culture stuff as well. So it's a mix mash between them.
Right. So you're coming to Canberra?
Yes.
Oh,
yep.
cool.
So I'll be obviously here this weekend, the first time for this one. Then I'll be at South Australia. It's at the SATMA.
I'm going to miss that. It's in September.
That's the end of September. That's grand final weekend. Yeah. They had to move that one.
It's another good show, though.
Yeah, it's a good show to go to. They had to move it because the weekend they usually have that was booked out. Apparently, that's what Keith had said to me.
Yeah,
and he asked me what sort of, what do you think of that? And I said, well, what are you going to do?
well, Essendon's out of the finals, so I don't.
Yeah.
I really.
Are you a Bombers fan?
Yeah, I was.
Sorry, mate. I'm a Sydney fan, and still am.
God.
Yeah, but after that, I'll be at Canberra for Scale ACT as usual. That's a good show to head up to every year. And then after that, I'm not sure because the GMX, whatever it is, GameX, is on the last weekend in November up here in Brisbane.
Yep.
So it's 2 weeks after Scale ACT. So,
well, like you, Scott, this is our first time up here, and we're just blown away by the amount of vendors that are here.
Mm.
We're blown away by the quality of the kits on the table, and also the crowd.
Yes.
It's not an old man over sort of 50 crowd.
No,
it is
that's
a
everyone.
really good mix.
It's a
You've
good
got the
spread.
young ones, you've got the under 30s, and everywhere in between.
Yep. And that's you'll get that with the local area too, because we moved up here just over a year ago.
Yes.
So this is my second time at the show. So my first show, I'd only just moved up here, but here in the Ipswich area, you do have a demographic of a lot of young families.
Mm.
So this is such a good place to have an event like this, because if we want to encourage the next generation, well, this is the catchment area.
Yeah. And I believe that they've outgrown this set, so they're going to expand next year. They're taking another pavilion as well, or something like that, is my understanding. So.
I think they'll need to. It's only getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
But I reckon that QMHE, it's like Melbourne Model Expo in terms of all its amenities and variety and stuff like that, but just better weather.
I would even go so far as to say even more variety than other places I've been so far, apart from, overseas, obviously. But, if you're not here this weekend, and obviously you're not going to be listening to this, by the time we put this down, it's been and gone.
Speed of light.
But next year, if you haven't been, put on your calendar to come up to QMHE.
Yep.
Guys, thanks very much for being on the show.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks for having us.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Good luck with your gannet.
Thank you. Yep, I can see some more soul searching and some more serious chats coming soon.
And Scott, I'll catch you in Canberra.
No worries, we'll do.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
And joining us on the bench now, we have Bruce from Deryck Collectables. G'day, Bruce. How you going?
Good. Thanks for having me along here.
That's
it's,
all right.
It's a privilege to talk to a couple of legends.
I wouldn't go that far, mate.
Yeah. So, Deryck Collectables, Ian and I walked past, and our jaws just dropped on the ground.
Oh,
because, and before, well, actually, let's take a step back. What do you guys actually produce?
Okay, well, we produce die-cast models of Australian trucks and trailers.
In what scale?
In 1 to 50 scale.
Yep.
So I actually work for the trailer manufacturer who make the trailers. We're the only company in the world that produce die-cast replicas of our own product.
Wow.
That's impressive.
No one else sort of
How'd you get
does
that past the boss?
Well, look, we're looking at different ways of marketing bits and pieces, and I've been a model builder and a die-cast collector since I was like 5 years old.
Yeah.
And we looked at different ways of marketing, and a lot of our customers always said you can never buy something proper Australian. And he said, we could be onto something here, and we just set it up as a promotional business. And 14 years later, we manufacture out of 3 factories in the Dongguan, Dongcheng, China area.
Yep. Wow.
So basically, it's a model kit that's already assembled and built. We have multiple awards for high quality die-cast. We're promoting probably the best trailer in Australia, I would think, arguably. And so to promote a quality brand, you need a quality product.
Well, I can speak to that because when we first walked past, your stall there, I thought they were plastic, first of all. That was a first impression. The second impression was the quality of the finishes on them. They're just jaw-droppingly gorgeous.
And the amount of detail that's thrown in there as well.
And then we reached out, and I did a sneaky. I reached out and picked one up just to see if it was plastic or not. And it blew me away because it was die-cast.
Yeah.
And then, on top of that, you tell me that guys buy these and then chop them up and modify them.
Yeah, look, reverse modelling. Instead of buying a kit and customising it, they buy a truck, pull it apart, and customise it. So there's our little truck itself, 251 parts.
Wow.
On average.
On a
in there.
150 scale
On
truck.
a 150 scale truck.
That's amazing.
You can open the cab doors and the seats go up and down, just like the real thing. The turntable, the fifth wheel at the back, will actually slide, tilt, and you can lock it.
Oh, geez.
Oh, wow.
It's got the lever like the real thing.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
Because what actually blew me, because I had to go through the display before getting to your stall, and what blew me away was seeing road train dioramas.
Yeah.
I've never seen a road train diorama in all my years of modelling and going to shows, and that totally blew my mind. I've gone, where have I been? I've had a look and talked to some of the guys, how they're scratch building their own trailers and how they're getting your trucks and modifying them and giving them repaints, and it was like, this is a whole part of the hobby that I've missed. And I've been in the hobby for almost 50 years.
Yeah.
And I've totally missed it. And all I can say is thank you for opening my eyes, because you've given me some really big ideas that's going to freaking turn me broke.
Well, that's good. It keeps me employed.
That's it, mate.
I guess we started producing products and we had a very limited sort of basic truck to start with. Back then, to tool the truck was around $80,000 US.
Wow.
Whoa.
So, we're not talking...
And that's a big risk you're taking for the first one, isn't it?
Yeah, well, look, it was. We started looking at this about 2007, 2008, when the recession was coming in.
Yeah.
But we moved forward. I would think that we probably own close to $2 million US in tooling.
Jeez.
In the factories
Wow.
in
Wow.
China.
Wow.
That's a big commitment, a big investment.
Oh, it is, yeah, definitely.
But, look, I think it was since June 2019 we'd sold 149,000 models throughout the world.
Well, that's impressive.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Yeah, 4 of us out of an office in Brisbane.
Yep. Yeah.
So what's your biggest market?
Oh, look, the Australian market is probably the biggest.
Yeah. We love our trucks.
We love our
do.
trucks.
Yep.
Probably followed by the European market.
Yeah.
Holland, them sort of. I've just come back from Holland. I went to a truck show in Holland with our distributor.
Yep.
I stood on their stand for a couple of days and signed autographs, signed model boxes.
Oh, really? Oh, well, you're a bit of a celebrity there, mate.
Yeah. Can we make the picture, please? Make the picture.
I'll give you some cheese.
It's very humbling to go and
It is, isn't it?
do that. But it's a big market there. We have a lot of them come over to Australia and they come and visit us at the drag shop at Wacol.
Yep.
And I often organise trips down the road to some local transport companies.
Yep.
I've been in the industry for a fair while.
Mm-hmm. I can tell.
I know a few of those people, and so it's always good to sort of do that sort of thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
So you take an all range of trucks, Kenworths, the Macs, Internationals, all those. You build them all?
No, basically we're just focused around the Kenworth and Mac brands.
Okay.
Yep.
So I sell Kenworth trucks to Kenworth and Mac trucks to Mac. we even make trailers which are, I guess, opposition to some of the Deryck product that we produce. With the Deryck salesmen, they sort of scratch their head, but hey...
you're making money.
It's bringing money in.
Yeah, bringing money in, and it's promotion. And sometimes I might get a phone call from a bloke in sales saying, hey, listen, we got a bloke here and he's thinking about buying the trailer, but, we just need something to push him over the line a little bit. What do you reckon? They said, yeah, okay, I'll make a model of it.
Okay. Yes, I can see where that works.
I'm told that I immortalise people in die-cast.
Well, when you think about it, somebody buying a truck nowadays, because they're not a cheap investment, are they, for a company? I mean, what's the a brand new Kenworth off the lot cost?
Easily $500,000.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So it's a good investment.
Yeah.
Because not only have you sold it to him, then produce more, make more money on it.
Yeah. So when we looked at setting this structure up for the business foundations, the boss said, okay, off you go, see what you reckon. So I'm a fitter. I worked on these things when I was a young fella, building them. My model building background. I've also got diplomas in business and all that sort of thing. Went back to school, so I formulated a plan about what I wanted to see as a die-cast collector, what I wanted as a model builder, what I wanted as an OEM, and what I wanted as a transport company. So the people who collect our product, the owner of that truck or that transport company is the equivalent to, say, Craig Lowndes for the people who collect Holden models. So I've brought them forward. Like when we do a model release, we do it completely different. If you have a look at the Deryck Collectables website, I get the people involved. You know, we did one yesterday. We pre-recorded it. We went to Toowoomba. We had the family there, the trucks. We talked about the history of the company.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Something a little bit.
Yeah, let's go in the extra couple of steps.
Yeah.
Wish more companies would do work that way.
I think that way,
definitely. Definitely. But I'm just gobsmacked with the quality. And like Dave said, this is worldwide, this podcast. So hopefully we're going to generate some interest in the States for you. Because we all know the Americans like their truckers.
Oh, they do.
So, for our American audience, where can they find you? Or actually, for any audience, where can they find you?
Oh, look, we've got the Deryck Shop website. We have a new website under construction. We do have a couple of distributors in the US.
Okay, fantastic.
Wise Brothers and 3000 Toys.
Yep.
A couple of the larger ones there, and a fair bit in throughout Europe, Asia. New Zealand, we sell a lot of product into New Zealand as well. So, it's sort of unusual the way. I never thought it would evolve to what it's evolved to.
That's usually the case, isn't it? You think, this is go all right. Next, it just goes. It just snowballs.
But this group that's here today that I suppose sponsor them. I pay for their site. We used to have a collector's day, and they started bringing along a few customs. So what I said to them was, bring them along, we'll put a number, and we'll do a people's choice vote.
Oh, that's a good idea.
One with the most things, I'll give them a gift voucher or something like that. And people always thought, why would you want to do that? And I said, well, if there's 10 models on the table, if there's 50 people there, and 49 get a vote, I should be making a model of that.
Exactly. Yes.
Bruce, thanks very much for being on the show. It's been awesome hearing about it. And if you've got anything interesting on you coming out, give us a hoy. We're more than happy to have you back on the show.
We're happy to promote you.
Yeah, terrific.
Definitely. No worries at all. Thank you.
Good on you, Bruce. Thanks, mate. And now we've discovered Ben Flood.
Hey, fellas, how you going?
We're fantastic.
So glad to see you up here.
Oh, we're absolutely rapt to be here, mate. Great to finally meet up in person after all these years.
I think we've known each other for about 4 years.
Yep.
Through the webs, but
I'm kind of fanboying out here a bit, so excuse me.
Thank you very much.
But no, that's been good. Your little table set up where you got your display where you're painting, and obviously getting a lot of people having interest. And
yeah, I thought so. Years ago, we used to have a lot of workshops and things like that up here, and that sort of died. And since I've come back to Melbourne, back to Brisbane, it's been something that I feel is missing a little bit. So I thought, why not just set up a little table, do some painting, let people see how I do, ask questions, show them what I do. If I learn something, great. That's all I want.
Yeah.
So,
We got a fantastic response to the last time we had you on the show, actually,
thank you.
Which is really pleasing to see. And it's really great to see you sitting down and just doing something like this, giving back to the hobby.
Yep.
And, it's not like you're sort of doing it for business or anything like that. You're just doing it for the love of it.
That's it.
Gee, maybe I need to come and sit down and see how you do it, because I've got no idea how to paint the figure.
It's alchemy.
Just finding it a little bit hard at the moment. We've got the fans above us that just keep the temperature down a bit, and it's sort of blowing. My paint's drying on the brush before I can get it to the kit. But
and I'll see smaller blades on a Chinook. They're big fans.
Probably better with them than without them, but yeah, it's a bit hard for me.
Yeah. And what a fantastic location for the show. We're sitting up on stage overlooking the display and also all of the vendors. And I'm blown away by how many vendors I've got here.
Yeah.
It is truly, there must be 30 or 40? I don't know. Easy.
Yeah, from what I've heard, it's one of the biggest years, not only for competition entries, but also for vendors and things like that. And it's still growing, which is really great to see.
And I'm also really amazed at how many young people we're seeing walking around.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is blowing my mind. And when I say young people, I'm saying anybody under 30.
Yep.
But there's a lot of people who are also under 20 here. I've seen them walking out with kits under their arms. We have somebody here selling Lego, and they're doing a roaring trade selling Lego kits to kids as well.
Yep.
So it seems to be a really well-balanced and well-rounded show in which we're getting...
Caters for everyone.
Yes.
Yep. A lot of ladies as well.
Yes.
Which is good to see. Really good to see. We're finding a lot of ladies are coming in through, the Warhammer, wargaming, things like that, and coming into the figure world. There's some brilliant painters out there. The ladies look at colours completely different to what the guys do, and you'll see it on the competition tables, and you'll just see,
it's an untapped talent.
Yep.
Really, it really is untapped talent that people just haven't really embraced.
No.
Which is a real shame because, as you said, their work is just amazing.
Yep.
And
it's the artistic side.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they've just got that touch that we fellas just can't seem to grab.
It.
And we need to sort of speak about the competition table because there are some outstanding models out there.
Yeah.
The one that's caught my eye, and it's a young fellow who did it. It's two F-111s flying side by side, banked over. And one is done in the Southeast Asian camouflage scheme, and the other one is done in that, grey.
Yeah, the pig scheme.
The what scheme?
The pig scheme.
And apparently, what he does, he builds these. He finds out who the pilot was, and he actually goes and gives the kit to the pilot because we're right next door to RAAF Ambley.
Yeah, yes, we are.
Which is the home of what used to be the home of our F-111s. Our Growlers and our Super Hornets are there now. And he actually goes and gives the kit to the actual pilot. And on the base, it's got a picture of the pilot as well as a bit of their bio as to what squadrons they flew with, which is what a thing to do. That's awesome.
That's
very cool.
Absolutely brilliant.
So we're hoping I can find him and actually get him on the show because I'd love to talk to him. And later on in the show, we've got Chris Becker coming on. And of course, he is really out there for, having models displayed in flight. And he saw this and I could just see he's frothing at the mouth and his eyes were sort of fluttering back into his head. And so we're going to be having a chat about that later on. But the quality of the stuff on the tables I'm really blown away by it.
What's impressed me also a lot here too is the quality of the figure painters.
Yes.
There's so many figures, like, you turn a corner, there's more figures.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's just amazing, and the quality of work. It's like, I know, further up north you go in Australia, the high quality you're going to find in figure painting.
It's actually been figure painting's been quite strong in Queensland for quite a while now. Since I've been away from Brisbane, 15 odd years, it was really strong back then, and it's even grown even more so now. Like the Queensland Figure Modelers. They're the club that's been around for a long time.
Their display's crazy.
Yep, it's amazing.
It's just wow.
And that's growing, and now we've got a new crowd, the Brisbane Display Painters Guild, and they're more of the younger crowd coming through. They're doing some real beautiful fantasy pieces. They've got a lot of colour and a lot of vibrancy in them, and it's moulding of sort of two different genres and bringing them together and
to make something absolutely amazing.
And in fact, we've got to go and have a chat to the Brisbane Display Painters Guild because I went over and chatted with them before, and they're not just in Brisbane; they're also in New South Wales and Melbourne as well. So
right.
Yep.
We have to go and have a chat with them later on and have them on the show.
Yeah, get more info out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were the crowd I was sort of talking about last time I was on the podcast. That they sort of got a statewide. Each state's got a different group. We're trying to bring them together, getting in sort of the same genres and same competitions and things like that.
Yes.
Trying to bring them all together.
Yep. Definitely get them on the show later on and have a chat
totally
to them
agree.
because I find that stuff really exciting what they're doing.
Yep.
What's up for the rest of your weekend?
I'm going to sit and paint.
And enjoy the show.
Yep. With a bung leg at the moment, it's probably the best thing I can do.
Yeah, exactly.
I just noticed because I caught up with you guys having lunch and you had a cheeky beer as well. That's the other thing we're going to plug.
We wouldn't do that.
That's the other thing I plug. You can have a beer here as well.
Yeah, no, it's good. Quite enjoyed it. It didn't actually hit the sides. It disappeared pretty quick.
Geez, they're very civilised up here in the north of Australia, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Oh, we've been in Queensland, mate.
Ben, thanks very much for being on the show.
Welcome, thank you.
No, all right. And with us now, we've got Eric Galliers. who we're very happy to have on board. I've been chasing an interview with Eric for a while now. So,
pretty elusive guy.
So Eric has Manscale Models and is pretty much a maestro at the 132nd scale aircraft, in my opinion.
Thanks very much.
So tell us a bit about yourself, mate.
Well, as I said, yeah, mostly into 132nd scale models. I've just recently started breaking into other scales, but yeah, I've been in Brisbane for the last 14 years and taking it pretty seriously.
Yep.
Entering lots of shows around the country.
Yeah.
And then a few years ago, I started Manscale Models. So
yeah, that's it. Been going quite well now, isn't it?
Yeah, that was born out of COVID. So stood down for 5 months in my full-time job. And
Ouch!
Yeah, the airline industry just hit rock bottom. And
Yeah.
So nothing to do, but I ended up turning it into something pretty lucrative. So
yeah. I know I spent a bit of money with you. So,
spend lots more, right?
Yeah. Don't worry, I plan to.
Got lots more for you to spend cash on this.
Well, the day isn't over yet, mate.
Yeah, true. Another couple of hours.
So you mainly do 132nd scale aircraft, isn't it?
Yeah, mostly. It's mostly subjects. So I'll chase particular guys that flew the aircraft, and whatever they ended up flying, I try and depict that. So 132nd scale's been something I've been into for a while. It just seems to have a bit more of a presence on the table and things like that. So even though it's not quite as popular as 48 scale, but as I said recently, I've just been delving into other scales like 72 and 48.
Oh, so. 72.
Yeah, I got the big Herc over there.
Oh, that's yours.
That's actually bigger than most.
I was going to say, it's still a big aircraft.
It's very big, yeah.
So when you say you chase the actual pilot, do you look for the subject first and then hunt the pilot down to sort of gift the model to? I guess,
definitely don't gift them to them.
Oh, okay.
Apart from one, there's one close friend of mine I've given the a model to, but sometimes it's someone I meet.
Right.
So at a show or at somewhere in life, I just come across someone that flew ex-military, and once I start talking to them and find out that they actually flew a particular type, okay, well I can get that in whatever scale I want to do, and generally it becomes an epic kind of build with lots of references, and it's really given me a different insight into kits, and it's put me in positions I never would have ever dreamed of.
Definitely.
As a kid building models, I never would have thought I'd be up in the back seat of a Nanchang flying with one of my subject pilots in some
really?
or staying with some of my subject pilots at their house, when I'm at shows at their city, and it's just an amazing feeling. And then even not so much guys that are currently with us, but there's also a lot of family history with World War II builds and everything. I've managed to be able to track down family members that build like the 32nd scale Typhoon that's out there. That's I end up choosing that subject pilot based on an email address that his daughter had written in one of the online forums saying that was her dad, and I found her email and contacted her at 11 p.m. at night, and she rang me straight away and said, she's interested in me doing a build of her dad, and then I've managed to uncover a lot of history that's never been published just through that. So there's a lot of stuff in chest boxes in people's houses and logbooks and artifacts that you never would have ever seen.
True.
And what a great way to honour their memory as well.
It is, absolutely it is. And I've tried to be very respectful about things and approach them in a respectful and friendly way, and people just open right up to you.
They do, because you're showing an interest in their family history. And,
absolutely,
and or the person themselves, and that makes them feel recognised.
Yeah, it's a great way to model. Absolutely.
It's
a different
totally
dimension on
agree,
it, and it keeps you driven if you actually know the person that's flown that particular machine, and they're keen to give that history on what they did. And all that
So I remember one of the ones that really struck me years ago is when you did that bird dog.
Yeah, well, that's the only one I've given away is the bird dog.
That's the one you gave away, was it?
I gave it.
That was an Aussie pilot flying for the American.
Absolutely,
for USA.
There was 36 Aussie pilots went over to Vietnam and flew forward air control. Very, very brave men.
Yep.
Oh, definitely.
And I actually met Mac by accident. I was actually at the Canberra show about 6 or so years ago, staying with my Sabre subject pilot, Kevin Bricknell. And Mac's actually a member of ACT SMS.
Oh, wow.
And he was walking around, he had a Mirage label pin on his jacket. And I said, hey, how are you going? And you flew Mirage? Oh, yeah. And they actually knew each other, of course, because they were both ex-Mirage pilots. And then when he told me his name, he introduced himself as Mac the Fac. And of course, it was right about that time that Rodin were releasing their 32
That's right,
scale bird dog.
Yeah.
So that's how that build came about.
Yeah.
Just through a random meeting, and actually Mac's a really good mate of mine. I stay with him when I'm in Canberra
Oh,
now.
jeez.
So stayed in touch, and yeah, we're really good mates.
So modelling's really opened the world for you.
Absolutely, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah, I recommend everyone try and do a real life subject.
Yeah.
You just got to sometimes do a lot of digging to find it. But,
Yep, totally agree.
And then just be prepared to uncover a lot of history that maybe people have never seen before.
Yeah.
The 32 scale Typhoon I built, for instance. There's an Australian pilot that flew and got shot down during D-Day. There's a whole backstory involved with his escape because he got shot down over France and ended up coming back. But he had a credited kill of a Focke-Wulf 190 in his logbook. So I managed to track down the gun camera footage of him shooting down.
No
the
way.
footage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
No way.
It took hours and hours of trawling through the 609 Squadron archives. And it was a eureka moment because I was watching and I knew the date that he shot the Focke-Wulf 190 down. I was able to find the gun camera footage from that period of time, but it was heaps of different segments of gun camera footage from all different pilots.
Yeah.
But the moment that it flashed on Flight Sergeant George Martin, on that date, and then all of a sudden it's 3 seconds of grainy footage and then a big explosion.
That's an incredible story.
Yeah, but his daughter had never seen that, so I was able to, with a bit of trepidation, because I was obviously, the subject of
the subject matter,
the matter of what actually had transpired. It was still war.
Yeah.
And I was able to email her and say, hey, I've actually found your dad's gun camera footage, and they'd never seen it before. So
that's amazing. Yeah. That is so amazing.
Yep. So it's a really different. You just don't. You look at the models on the table, you think it's a bit of plastic or a toy or whatever. There's actually a whole backstory to it. So,
So Eric, how do you go about the research side of it? Because you've just spoken about tracking down this, gun camera footage and all that sort of stuff. I'm assuming there must be a huge amount of work you need to do, and you need to know where to go to sort of find all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's probably the part I enjoy the most about the hobby. It's the detective work. You kind of feel like a bit of a detective. You've got to draw inspiration from different sides, and sometimes you end up going down paths that you never would have thought in terms of research. Talking to different people, and emailing, and Facebook's a really awesome way of finding people. So that going back to Matt Cottrell. With his bird dog, he got recommended for a Silver Star on one particular day in 1968 for a combat action that he flew, and he had a recommendation for a Silver Star written by the two F-100 pilots, USAF F-100 pilots, that flew an airstrike on his smoke.
Yep.
So he had that letter of commendation. I actually got that letter from him and tracked down one of the guys in the States.
No way.
Wow.
No way.
Via Facebook.
That is brilliant.
I mean, I typed in his name, Ron Swanson, USAF, and it came up with his wife's Facebook page and a photo, and it looked like him, so that's probably him. So I actually messaged her and didn't get a response. And I left it a few weeks, and I commented directly on that photo saying, hey, I've sent you a message. And she actually thought it was a bit of a prank.
Oh, right. Yes.
And then, and so I was able to introduce those two guys to each other via social media.
Cool.
They'd never met each other in person. They'd been a couple of 100 metres apart from each other in, combat in airspace, but they never crossed paths in real life. And
that would have been such a bonus for them too.
Yeah, but it's awesome. Yeah. I could talk all day about subject pilot experiences.
I could listen to it all day.
For another day, maybe.
Sometimes it's just like the most obscure hint of a reference somewhere, and then all of a sudden you've got you've got a subject pilot. So
that's awesome. So tell us more about Manscale Models.
Yeah, so it's 2021 I started up. Just so a guy was getting just down the road from me was selling SMS, and ended up he was leaving town, so I offered just to buy his small collection of stock off him, and from then it's just spiraled into something far bigger.
Lots of resin and all sorts of tools.
Yeah, tooling. So there was a bit of a gap in the market for higher end modelling tools.
Yep.
There's a lot of tool whores out there, as you can probably imagine.
Yes, true.
So I'm their medicine, if you know what I mean.
Well, we'll have to get Julian in contact with you, Eric, when we get back to Melbourne.
So there's a lot of base model stuff out there, but guys with a bit of disposable income that like their hobby, that instead of spending a couple $100 on a kit that's going to sit in your stash for years on end.
We all know that.
A couple $100 is well invested in a tool that you
Yeah,
use.
well,
it is. Yeah.
I remember someone saying recently that we're willing to shell out $200 on a kit we're never going to build.
Yeah, true.
But we won't spend any more over $50 on a tool.
And the tool will last your lifetime.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
exactly.
will last
right.
us a lifetime. Yeah.
So I actually enjoy I in a previous lifestyle before I was previous lifetime before I was a pilot, I was in sales in Harvey Norman selling computers, and I really actually enjoy the sales aspect of things.
Oh, cool.
Talking to people, getting to know what they want, and just helping people out. So it's kind of suits my my personality to be able to do that sort of thing.
Yeah,
so,
that's brilliant. So where can people find you?
Just on the web. I'm 90% online. I operate out of my back shed, to be honest. But
hey, you got to all start somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have any plans of brick and mortar store, that's for sure. But yeah, www.manscalemodels.com.au.
Yep. So everyone, keep that in mind. He's a great story. He's a great fellow to talk to.
Yeah, and I spend a lot of time in the post office, put it that way. So.
I bet you do. So being at the QMHE over the past few years, how are you seeing how it's grown?
This is the best show in Australia at the moment.
Yep.
I go to Perth, Melbourne and Canberra each year. I've tried to do that for the last 7 years. Non-stop. And this is the best show of all at the moment. Yeah.
Oh, it's brilliant.
The committee and guys have done an absolutely sensational job.
They have. Yeah.
Well, this is our first time up here, and we're totally blown away.
Yeah.
It's just everyone's just so great to talk to, and meeting up with everyone that we've had a lot of online presence with.
Yep.
That we're finally meeting in person.
Yeah.
Finally grabbing hold of you and having a chat, because I've been hanging to have a chat with you for a long time.
And we've seen you at so many shows. Just haven't had the chance to get
always
behind the microphone.
He's always in the background there. I've got to have talk to him one day.
But do you know what? Actually, this show has got the best lighting of any show.
It does,
The lighting of this show is absolutely sensational.
So there's some shows that, well, I know there's one local one that is blue lights.
Oh, look,
it's not good.
You know, you got to deal with what you get given that day. You know, there's not much you can really do about it. But the lighting in the show is actually really good. And it's when I build my models, I'd like to build under strong light, but I also take the strong light off to look at the models as to how it would look on a show table, if you know what I mean. But the lighting in this show has been excellent.
Really good. Yeah, we're very impressed.
Great venue. The guys have done a great job.
Oh, they have, haven't they?
Very far away from everywhere.
Well, from us too, yeah.
But it's only one weekend a year, so.
That's right. Yes. No, we enjoyed the trip. It was a bit of a challenge getting up here, but
we haven't got back yet, so.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yes, tomorrow morning, leaving at 5 a.m.
Yeah, it's good to see some of you Southerners come up this way.
Yeah, we got to get out of the cold, mate. So anyway, thanks very much for jumping on.
No worries, guys.
Really great to have you on board.
Absolutely.
And
and we'll see you in Canberra.
We will.
Yeah,
yes,
yep, I'll be there.
We'll definitely
Cool.
be there.
Staying with my subject pilots.
Oh, there you go.
No worries.
So much, guys.
All right, thanks, Eric.
Thank you very much.
The next guest we've managed to drag up onto the show is Jason Miller from ARMS Corp's Models. How are you, mate?
Good, yourself?
Yeah, very good.
Fantastic.
So for those of our listeners who don't know what ARMS Corp's Models is, how about you give a bit of a rundown on exactly what you do?
Ooh. Which part of it, actually? Because I've been...
Well, let's start with what you got available now for people who want to...
At the moment, I've got a 35th scale AS1 Leopard.
Yep.
The final version of the tank prior to it coming out of service in 2006-ish. And that's for the Mung kit, or as other people say, the Meng kit.
No, you said it correctly.
You said it correctly, but we say Meng, you say Mung.
Yeah, well, they told me themselves it's pronounced Mung.
Yep.
But so that's available along with a set of road wheels as well.
Cool.
Then I had an M113 engine deck in 35th scale, which has got the correct mesh and everything like that done for it. But been having a few issues with that over the last couple of months, so it's on the back burner at the moment. And I currently have here today my M1A1 AIM SA in its final configuration, which incidentally was last week.
And that is huge. That's got presents, that kit.
Yeah,
it's got a lot of presents.
It's for the Trumpeter 116 scale, and if you buy that particular Trumpeter kit and you want a challenge, buy something else.
Oh, really?
Oh, it is terrible.
It is terrible. Wow, okay.
It is a terrible kit. But with the incredible Manscale Models update kit for it, which was supposed to be on sale today, but unfortunately my printer one of my printers decided that we should try a new FEP, and that FEP failed.
Oh, no.
So now I've got to go back to the original FEP, so hence I don't have any of the kits here. But the actual kit itself, the built version for the instructions is sitting over on the table at the moment. And it's about 90% complete at the moment. I've got a couple more small parts that I've got to add for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be good to go in the next 2 weeks.
So awesome. your main focus is on
Australian armour.
Australian armour and 3D printed parts to bring parts up to Australian
existing kits to Australian.
Yeah, started off many years ago. Ex-serving member of 214 2nd 14th Light Horse Regiment, QMHE in Brisbane.
Yep.
Got out of the army, worked security for a while because that's all the army will retrain you for. Worked at the military workshop for 3 years, and then basically started working with John Mishka at Mouse House. I started doing his casting and some of the stuff.
Oh, right, yes.
Geez, you go way back.
Long way back. For my own kits at that stage, I didn't particularly feel like wanting to work with customers, so John put it all under his label.
Yeah,
nice.
Which was fine. And then later on down the track, when I started going from drop pouring to actually using machinery, everything really stepped up. So I produced Arms Corps models, and Arms Corps is a military term for frontline units.
Yep.
So hence the little lav. And I just started casting for John for donkey's years, and then unfortunately I have a bit of a back condition as well. And after standing under the bench for 14 to 16 hours a day casting, it just got too much for me. And I kind of just dribbled off and vanished into the distance and went and ran a paintball field for 8 years.
Oh wow! Gee, that's a bit of a pivot.
Very cool.
Yeah, and so that was all good fun. And working with QPS for gel blasters and things like that as well.
Yeah.
And unfortunately that all fell on its bum. And I thought, well, it's time to put the shirt back on.
Yep.
So I put the shirt back on. A few years ago I bought my first printer. And I thought, I'll give this printing thing a bit of a go and see what happens. It sat at the front door for 18 months under the coffee table. And then I thought, no, time to do it. And then my offsider, James, he came up one day and he said, righto, let's do this. So we went, righto, let's have a crack at it. And it was maybe 3 months of abject failures.
Yeah.
Fail after fail after fail after fail.
Welcome to the world of 3D printing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It'll be easy, they said.
In saying that, though, out of those fails, there was the occasional light at the end of the tunnel. It's like, oh my God, this worked.
Yeah.
Let's try something. Oh, it failed. Let's try it. Oh, it failed. Let's go back to those original settings. Can't remember what they were.
Oh, no.
Let's try something else. So anyway, so that went on for about maybe 4 to 6 months or something like that. And then I just did some more research and went, bugger it, let's get something decent. So I convinced the missus, went out and bought the first good printer. And I haven't looked back since.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And the quality of stuff that you've been printing that I've seen has been absolutely awesome.
Oh, thank you. It's... I put more time into the research than the actual drawing and the printing itself. The printing is the easy part. That's the machine does all that.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's all those ones and zeros that you add when you actually do the drawing and so forth. For anyone out there that's interested in getting started, believe it or not, Windows 3D Builder is where I started. It's great if you just want to cut something, paste it together, stretch it, things like that. And then I made the hard decision of switching across to Fusion 360. That drove me to drink because it's completely different. And thank you, James, for the bottle of scotch too that day. Thank you, sir. But Fusion 360 is sensational for anything that you want to do that's of the mechanical.
Right.
If it's mechanical.
Yep.
If you want to do something that's more natural or with bends and folds and stuff like that, go Blender. I've had a crack at Blender a couple of times, and literally I've gone through I think 2 or 3 mice for the keyboard now because I keep throwing them across the room. So I don't touch Blender anymore. It just does my head in. So it's back to Fusion. In saying that, I still use Windows 3D Builder for resizing parts, for cutting parts, for doing a lot of. So when you put the supports on for your slicer and so forth, I'll then export that as an STL. Cut the raft off that, replace the raft, and it'll have my logo on it, what the part numbers are.
Oh, that's a great idea.
All of that kind of thing. And then I just drop it back into the slicer again, and away I go.
Do you, print for any particular scale, so you're not tied to one scale. You do for the whole range.
I'm gonna drop a name here, Alan Curry. He asked me about 6 months ago if I'd because I'd played around with CAD for the Abrams for quite some time in 35th scale, and he had the trumpeter kit, and he says, look, would you upscale your parts to 16?
Yeah.
At that stage, I was about to look at bringing the Abrams back out on the market because I did it as a resin pour a few years ago. And I said, yeah, how hard can it be? Why not? So another mate of mine, and I'll drop another name here, Jason Scott, sent me up his trumpeter kit.
Yep.
And the funny thing that's about it is Alan actually works for Australia Post, and he sends me a message one night and goes, oh my God, you will not believe it. And there's a photo of the kit going through Australia Post's warehouse where he worked.
Oh, there you go.
And I'm like, that's awesome. So, of course, screenshot, post that on the page. And then it got to me, and he goes, I will warn you, it is a terrible kit. And I opened the box, and I went, no, I can work with this. 6 months later, it's nearly on the market.
Oh, jeez.
It's been
a real challenge.
And challenge is not really the word. It's now, I don't drink. I gave up alcohol when I, believe it or not, joined the army.
It's a bit brand the wrong way, isn't it?
But I tell you what, those bottles of scotch have been getting lower and lower. They're leveling for a while now. It has been probably one of the largest challenges I've ever done on any kit that I've ever done.
Jeez.
Even more than any of the ASLAV series that I did, or the Abrams series way back, or M113 stuff. M113 being my bread and butter. But this has been one hell of a challenge. I mean, and the research to go in to find out about parts too, like the 50 cal, for argument's sake, everyone just goes, oh yeah, it's a 50 cal.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, it's not. So I went right back into the history from all over the place trying to find out when did we actually start using this particular type of 50 cal. And then I go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And then I'm finding other things that I've got to do, and oh God. To the extent that I got onto FN in Belgium, and they helped out with a lot of information for the actual 50 cal itself and the Coax Mag 58 that's on the loader station.
Oh, okay.
So thank you, FN Belgium. And just trying to work out history now with anything Australian. If you've ever built anything Australian, especially armour-wise, pick a time period and stick to it.
Yeah.
Because if you go either side of that time period, there are so many different changes to the vehicles. And that doesn't matter if it's an M113 or if it's an ASLAV or it's an Abrams or God, the Leopard. Don't get me started on the Leopard. The bins on the Leopard, the stowage bins on the hull. There are 36 different types.
Oh, wow.
And that's what I mean by when I go into the research for these parts to make them as accurate as possible as I can within the limits of the machines that I use. But at the same time, I end up going down this stupid rabbit hole, punch Alice in the face, give the Mad Hatter a finger, and keep going. So it's I don't do shake and bake kits. I never have.
Yeah.
I don't do meter models, and I don't do desktop. I do as accurate a scale representation that I'm physically able to do.
Yep.
With the new stuff that's coming into the Australian Defence Force, and particularly the Army,
not interested in the Boxer, not interested in any of that stuff.
Not interested in the Huntsman?
Nope.
Oh.
There's plenty of other guys here in Australia who are starting to knock out some stuff now.
Yep.
That's their job.
Okay.
I stick with what I know, and I'm quite happy with that.
Right.
Besides, I hate the Boxer. It's
Well, we have to have an interesting discussion about that offline over a beer.
Yeah. But
the other big thing that's coming down, obviously, is the 1/16 scale M113.
Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm...
and that is just such a blank canvas for someone like you to go to town on.
I don't know how long it took me to watch that first video.
Yeah.
It took me probably twice as long to watch the second video. I've tried to enhance the sprue shots from the video to try and get a better idea and a better understanding of what the kit's going to be like and how much work I have in front of me.
Yep.
This is going to take a while. This is going to take a while. If I put the same effort into this M113 as I have this Abrams, and there's no doubt that I will, because, again, it's my bread and butter. It's my baby.
Yep.
It's what broke me. It's what gave me my love of armour at the same time and broke me again. But just the changes, the different variations of that one vehicle since 1966 or 65, 66.
Just within Australian service, let
Just
alone
within
around the rest of the world.
Australian
Yeah.
service, So I can tell all the listeners out there, if you are thinking of getting one of these kits because you used to crew one yourself, or you were some poor grunt laying in a pit in knee-deep water.
That was me.
Drinking cold coffee, eating cheese out of a rash pack tin, and you saw this incredibly good-looking cav man come past in an M113, and you thought, I'm going to build that kit one day. Do it, but at the same time, buy a second one.
Yeah.
Buy two.
Okay.
Oh,
wow.
Buy two.
Why do you say buy two?
The plans I have is to cover the entire family of vehicles.
Ooh.
Australian version.
So even the fire support vehicles?
I'll leave that to another guy that I can't say too much about at the moment. Gibbo. I don't know about the MRV or the FSV. I only ever saw one once and went, oh, yeah, cool. And that was it.
What about the Ramey cars?
Oh, Arvel.
Yep.
Arvel,
Yep.
absolutely.
Yep.
The 6 years I did with 214, some of the best guys I ever met were the Recce Max and the Ramey guys that used to come out with the troop.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just as weird as what we are.
Yeah.
They're out there doing what we do. They're in the dust, they're in the mud, they're in the rain. And just because they go back every now and then and start playing PlayStation on a big projection screen TV, we won't hold it against them. But Arvel is definitely on the cards. But the very first kit that I will be producing for that for the Indie Hobbies M113 will be a long-term car.
Very cool.
And I'll just say one more word, mortar.
Oh, you yell, we shell, death from over the hill 24 hours a day. It's on the list.
Yeah.
It's penciled in.
Sure.
It's not tattooed in. It's penciled in at this stage. And again, it's the same with the Arvel. If I do get the chance to get to Pucker, and I do get access to the cars, then absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you now that the museum is back open again now.
Ooh.
So you can get in there.
Road trip. James, we're going to Pucker.
Unfortunately, the plans that the Army had to move the museum have now been scotched, which is a big disappointment because it'd be great if they had done that, put them under a proper their own proper shed, and also wouldn't have to drive through the damn Army gate to get in there. But
if you've ever had the chance to go out to the Army Aviation Museum in Oakey, which is literally 15 minutes from my place, it is sensational.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely sensational.
Wow.
But for some reason, I don't know if this is just my thinking, the public likes to see their aircraft undercover, but they don't give a rat's about their armour.
Yeah, weird about that, isn't it?
Yeah. And yet, you go to Cairns, Jason B, you rock dude.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. When I was up there the other week, it took all of my effort and my might to just stick with the M113 and not go looking everywhere else.
Yeah.
You know, I eventually got around and had a look at the Tiger and the Panther and the Yug Tiger and the Yug Panther, and did a quick tour around the place. But I was up there for one reason, and that was the M113. I spent more time in the air than I actually did on the ground, and ended up with nearly 400 photos and measurements. So I will be going to town on that Andy Hobbies kit. But yeah, first up would be a long-tan car. Then I might put a poll on the page.
That's a good idea.
And see who wants a 70s car, who wants an 80s car, practically the same bloody thing.
Yeah.
Who wants a post-Vietnam car right up through till mid-90s, and then post-90s.
Okay.
And then I'll go with that.
All right. So if somebody actually wants to go and check out what you've got, where did they find you?
I'm only on Facebook at the moment.
Yep.
I've got the Manscale Models page on Facebook. There's hints and tips in there about 3D printing as well. You know,
and that's Arms Corp, spelt C-O-R-P-S.
Yes, pronounced core.
Correct.
It's just what I'm working on at the time. I do. I also knock out commission jobs, 3D printing.
All right. Yep.
So if someone goes, oh look, you know, I've got this AH-64 Apache gunship barrel that I've drawn up in whatever, or I got it from wherever. Can you print it for me? Yeah, sure. I'll give you a quote and give you a price and so forth. There are a few sort of, what's the word? I'm just completely mind blank now. There are a few conditions with me doing 3D printing for people.
Yep.
If it's your drawing, excellent, prove it. if you've bought this drawing from somewhere that's not the original artist, I will not touch it.
Yep. Good.
I will not touch it.
No, you don't want to go down that hole.
Now, if you can provide a quick screenshot of the receipt that you bought from the original artist, whether it's on, for figures, and I've done plenty of figures for people as well, like from Colts or from Game Boy or something like that, not a problem. I'll smash the figure out for you as best I can.
Yep.
But if you've bought it from other unscrupulous places and you paid $6 for it, but the original artist wants $26, then you can find someone else.
Yeah, sure, fair enough. Jason, it's been awesome having on your show. And again, that Facebook page is?
Manscale Models.
There you go.
On Facey.
Go and check it out and stand by for all the great goodies that come down for the 1/16th scale M113.
Oh, so much fun.
All right, mate. Thanks very much.
No, thank you, boys. Have a good day.
You too, buddy. And joining us on the bench now, we have Mark Partis.
Yep.
Did I get that right, Mark?
Yep, certainly did.
And Mark, you're from ABOM.
Yep.
Which stands for?
A bunch of modelling blokes.
Great acronym. Great acronym. Love it.
So tell us, what does a bunch of modelling blokes do?
Well, we're friends first and modellers second. We don't have a clubhouse as such. We just go to each other's places on a regular basis, say once every month or that, and we get together and we just talk the breeze about modelling and take the crap out of each other at the same time.
Oh, I love it. The way it should be done.
And obviously you blokes are in Queensland?
Yes, we are.
Which part?
Based around Brisbane. We're Brisbane, Ipswich, Gold Coast, we've got members in.
Yep.
So there's only about 5 or 6 of us.
Yep.
We meet on a regular basis and have a lot of fun modelling at the same time.
So what's your main sort of genre for modelling?
I'm a bit eclectic, but most of the time it's ships.
That's what I like to hear.
Yes. I love 1 350 and 1 700s.
Very good.
The thing that got me talking to Mark was I've walked past his table and gone, ooh, a Shikaku.
Yeah, they're fun kits to do, those
for
carriers.
Jamie ones,
Yeah. You got any more carriers in your back pocket?
I've got a few. I've got the Trumpeter Essex class carriers. I've got a USS Hornet as well.
Nice.
All in 350 with the photo etch sets. So,
Yep. The way to do it.
Yeah, well...
And as we all know, the carrier might cost X dollars, but the aftermarket stuff that you put on can double or even triple the price of the kit.
Most definitely. But you've got to look at it from the point of view, the expense compared to the time you have building it.
Yeah.
6-7 months, say, for $400 is, I think, a pretty good investment.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that is a very good investment, actually.
And you got something to sit and look at for, years upon years upon years.
Definitely. That's if you've got the room. Sometimes you find you run out of room when you're building 350 ships compared to, say, motorbikes.
Yeah. Or 72nd scale aircraft or something like that.
32nd scale aircraft.
What about the other guys in the club? What do they tend to build?
We've got one gentleman who loves his sci-fi. We've got Dave. He's another ship modeler as well.
Yep.
In 350 scale. We've got Fred. He's pretty eclectic as well. He does armour. He also does... Lately, he does those gun turrets.
Oh, yeah.
The ship gun turrets.
Ship ones, yep.
And we've got Dallas. He does 72nd scale aircraft and sci-fi. That's the same as Anton. He does sci-fi as well.
Bit of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's good that way because if you're stuck on something in one genre, you can always ask one of the other members who have got experience and they can help you through some.
And that's one of the benefits of having a club or being, part of a bunch of guys who sort of get together, or guys and gals. You can sort of ask that question, hey, I'm stuck on this, how do I do this? Or how do you get that effect? And they can actually show you there on the spot.
Yeah. Or quite often it's also comes down to reference material. Like I've got a large selection of different reference books and Dave and I share those. Fred as well. If we're stuck on something, we can give them one of the reference books and they can check the details on that.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Terrific. How are you enjoying the show?
Loving it. I've been coming here now for, I think, 20 years straight now.
Jeez, wow. Okay.
Yep, and I've done all aspects. I've been on the committee before. I've been competition secretary before.
Yep.
And it's a lot of work, but it's thoroughly enjoyable at the same time.
But now you're just sitting back and enjoying it as a punter.
Punter, yep.
You did your judging last night, so that's all done and dusted?
Yeah, 4 hours of judging. That was fun.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that I don't have to suffice to say, explain what I spend to the wife.
Well, I'm glad I wasn't on doing any judging because some of the categories would be really hard. To
really
sort of pick.
tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we found it difficult. Some of the categories there, anywhere from gold down to, say, 5th or 6th place, if you want to go that way.
Yeah.
It was a hair's breadth in.
Wow.
Basically, the detail. You come down to nitpicking to try and separate them. But the beauty of this competition is if you think there are 2 entries in there that deserve the same prize, you can give it.
Yeah.
Unlike some other shows where it's just straight gold, silver, bronze.
Or 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
Yep. There are certain categories here today that I've heard about where they've issued 2 silvers, 2 bronzes.
Yep.
We've issued 2 golds before in categories as well.
Yep.
So it's pretty flexible, and we can also issue highly commended if it's required as well.
Yeah, that's terrific. All right, so if people who live in the Brisbane area want to get in touch with ABOM, a bunch of men modelling,
Yep.
how do they do that?
Well, quite often it's just through the show. We don't usually give out phone numbers. That we've actually come across people who require work done for them on commission basis, and we give out our phone numbers and everything to them.
So you have a Facebook page or something like that, or?
No, unfortunately we don't, but if they look up my name on Facebook and they're a modeller, they can put down a friend request.
And that's Mark Partis, spelt Partis.
Correct.
There you go.
Yep, so if anyone's out there who wants some information about anything to do about modelling, ships or along those lines, they're more than welcome to put through a friend request on me on Facebook, and I can get in touch with them that way.
No worries.
Sounds great, mate.
Mark, thanks for joining us on the show.
My pleasure.
Cheers,
No
mate.
worries.
It now gives us great pleasure to introduce Jesse from DDA. G'day, Jesse.
G'day, boys. How's it going today?
Yeah, good, mate.
Fantastic, mate. So glad to catch up.
No, I'm loving it. Seriously, it's been a brilliant day here today. Lots of people down and around. I've been getting pulled up left, right and centre, having a chat to everyone. Just loving it.
Yeah, fantastic. Getting the same question, where's the Mopars?
Always, every day.
So how's the show been for you guys?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. Setup yesterday was pretty quick. We sort of barreled through that and then, to be honest, wandered around and started having a chat with everyone, having a look through all the kits and things down the front, and really enjoying, obviously, the DDA product I'm seeing. You know, it's blowing my mind.
Yeah. Now, speaking of DDA, for those listeners who aren't aware of what DDA is, how about we give a quick rundown of who you guys are?
Yeah, so the business was actually started about 25 years ago by my old man and my mum, so John and Chris Marios. So they started out originally as a distributor for like Hot Wheels products and Mattel products specifically, and then slowly stepped into getting Matchbox on board, obviously before it was assumed. And then from there, they became a big distributor in the industry, in the country. And then probably about 6 years ago when I joined the fold, we started moving more into the manufacturing our own product.
Oh,
it's all cool. Australian cars too, which is great.
Always. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Oi, oi, oi.
You've done some great things with the plastic kits you've been releasing over the last, I want to say, 18 months now.
Yep.
Even 2 years, I think it's been now.
Feels like yesterday. We've actually got another one on the water, which we were looking at the other day. Like, seriously, the sheer volume in the kits in the industry. And I was saying to my old man, like, we always knew that there'd be a market there, but how much of a market just really wasn't being tapped at all. Like, we've got the A9Xs currently on the water, and man, I'm getting blown up all over the socials every day.
Every man and their dog wants an A9X. Like even the old J would be selling well by now, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, but still to this point, I actually believe the biggest selling kit we've had has been the HQ, the 4-door. Even
the original one.
Which
wow.
Sort of surprised me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, suppose every man and their dog in the 70s and 80s had one.
Yeah, well, what they do, they sold 485,000 Kingswoods, I think.
What do you got coming down the pipeline? I'm really keen to find out. And I know all the car builders out there who build, and, you know, thank goodness you're doing Aussie stuff.
Yeah.
But
it's an untapped market.
It has been an untapped market for many years. What do you got coming down the pipeline? Are you able to say anything or sort of give us any sort of exclusives?
Look, bits and pieces. In terms of DDA stuff, we're working on something specifically right now which has never been tooled before, anything bigger than a 43rd scale. So we're working on that right now, and I actually got the decorated samples delivered to the factory the other day.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, to the warehouse, and they were unbelievable, man. The detail in them, they're just getting better and better.
Yeah.
So we've started actually moving to a big part of, like with my Oswheels 64s, I've been really getting involved in China with a few different factories and sort of seeing what they're capable of doing and what we're capable of pushing the envelope and where the boundary sort of can be found.
Yep.
And we found one factory that honestly what they do for us is just wild in the 164. So we've taken the 24s to them. And this is the first project they've done all the tooling and everything ground up on, and it is awesome.
Can't wait.
It is a Ford.
Can't wait.
I can tell you that much,
It's
but I don't know if
Ford.
we'll be able to put out too much.
So is there at least one word you can drop just to tease for us?
Ute.
Oh. Oh.
Okay. All right.
I've got an
No
idea. I've got an idea, and if it's what I think it is, it's going to sell like hotcakes.
Oh, look, it's something that's never been done. And again, one of my favourite body shapes is this shape. So
Yep.
doing it in ute, a panel van wouldn't matter. I mean, I just am obsessed with that front end. It just looks so angry and tough. And as soon as you drop them that little bit more, just something special.
So you guys, because so far we're looking at basically 70s cars so far. In the future, we're going to be going more modern.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh.
So, well, one thing I can say, since we announced them actually at the Toy Fair this year, we're doing VLs. So we're doing VL Walkie and the Calais as well, and we'll be able to do them in all the variants. So be able to do headlights, the tilting headlights as well.
Yep.
And we'll be able to do the walk-and-shores as well as doing like the Group A SSs and the SSVs too. So we'll be able to do a lot in them and step into something newer. Like for me, I love the 70s style stuff. Even when I was growing up, like my old man had a few of them and things like that, but for me they were just not reachable. They were not possible.
Yeah.
So when I sort of said to him, I'm like, I'd love to do something a bit newer, you know, and like the Calais and the VLs specifically, really up until about 15 years ago, you could pick them up.
Yeah.
You know, like they were easily obtainable in a reasonable quality. And
Yep.
for me, you know, how much more Aussie can you get than a VL?
Very true. Very, very true. So you're getting any overseas interest?
Yeah, actually, I've been approached by 3 or 4 different distributors through the US.
Cool.
And one actually in Europe, which we've sort of been toying with a few ideas because I have a very close friend in Europe that runs, well, the diecast company. So, you know, the biggest diecast retail outlet in Europe. So we're sort of tossing and turning whether or not we go to him or go to a distributor, but we are starting to look at international options, and specifically like for everyone in NZ, anyone listening, we've actually brokered a deal with Repco to run them in their 100 stores through the NZ. So we're gonna
I know a few people in New Zealand have been actually asking me about that, so they're going to be quite happy to hear that.
Yes, and
especially you, Bardo.
and that's going to run for the diecast product too. So for any of you guys in NZ that are chasing stuff and have been having a hard time trying to find it, well, I'm really working hard to get it to you.
Go to your Repco.
That's it.
Very, very, very awesome.
Jess, it's been awesome having you on the show, and we wish you all the best, and we're just so excited for where you guys are going and what you're bringing to the hobby community, and it's it sounds like there's some more great stuff coming down, and we just can't wait to see it.
Definitely.
And one last thing before you head back out, I've got to congratulate you guys on the way you box the kits as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, the box itself is like a display.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's something that we looked at, because originally when we were designing them, right, and I said to Dad, I'm like, the biggest gripe I've always found with kits, or anyone that I've spoken to about kits, is what do they do with the boxes when they're done? And I'm like, well, how can we try and find some way that if they have a choice at least, whether they want to use them to display them or throw them away. The last final component for that, which is coming, I'm just getting them to refine a little bit more, but I'm making a display case lid that will sit inside of the lid. So it will fully then enclose it with a proper display case on the front. So you can be able to put your kit in there, enclose it, and slip it into the box, and it's 100% sealed. So that's the next thing. That's why the boxes were done like that. Because a lot of people did ask. They were like, "Well, why would you do it like that?" I said, "Well, if I can get this done and get it done right, it basically flat packs. It opens up. It slips 2 side pieces in, a side piece down the front, and the top lid slips down in and clips on and holds it all together."
Yeah.
Display case.
Yep.
And price point wise, not 100% confirmed, but they'll be very, very reasonable.
Oh, cool.
Magic.
Very impressed.
And that's another thing I could congratulate you guys on as well as the price point as well.
Yeah.
You've really hit that sort of sweet spot.
This is what we've always tried to do, and I'm a very, very vocal person about this, where, you know, especially with the cost of living and everything always going through the roof, like everything we try to do is for the end consumer. We try to make them feel like they're getting a bit more value for money every time they purchase a product, and I think that's sort of what's breeding into the success of it.
Yep.
Terrific.
Very cool.
Jesse, thanks very much, and we can't wait to see what's you're going to be bringing out in the near future, and give us a hoy, and we'll have you on the show again to sort of make that announcement.
Yeah, we're definitely going to help sponsor you, mate, on this one. we'll keep an eye on you.
And for all the Oswheels fans, one word: Bathurst.
Yes.
All right, thanks,
Very
mate.
cool.
Cheers.
Thanks
Bye.
very much, boys.
Chris Sawby from Wybers Sculpts is joining us on the bench now. G'day, mate. How you going?
How are you? I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, really good.
Really enjoying ourselves.
Yep, that's good.
So, how are you finding the show?
It's been pretty interesting. I haven't been here for a couple of years. So, yeah, it was nice. And I actually entered a couple of figures into the competition too. So I haven't done that before.
Yep.
So I threw in 3. They just happened to be, a couple of them happened to be commissions. So I was just painting them at the time, and I thought, I got them. I'll throw them in for some giggles, and then send them off to the guys that
So, Chris, your background is sculptures?
Well, yeah, background's art. I'm a creative sort of type of person, and I did a bit of commercial art years ago. I've done all sorts of stuff, I guess, over the years, but I sort of grew up. I was sculpting and painting when I was a kid and drawing, and I pushed that all aside for 30 odd years, and then I thought I'd get back into the figure modelling hobby 2018 or 17, and I was just actually telling Ian just before I was buying commercial kits, and I was like, I probably would have done this a little bit different, or just my own sort of process of looking at things, and also I just like put an individual flavour with you get 20 of the one figure. I just thought I'll just tweak a few things. So anyway, within about 12 months, I had a crack at sculpting a whole figure. Looks pretty crude now looking back at it, but that was my first sort of thing in a looking at sculpting in a miniature form. So yeah, that's where it sort of started. Yeah.
So you sculpt in clay and then cast it, or?
Look, there's a few different mediums out there, but yeah, there's the polymer clay stuff, which is it's a bit like plasticine, and it stays soft until you bake it.
Bake it, yeah. Right. Yep.
And then the other one's the 2-part epoxies, which are basically chemical reaction. They harden within an hour or so.
Yep.
So they both have their pros and cons. And different nuances on how you approach to sculpt with. So yeah, you can sort of depends on how deep you want to go through do all those things. But yeah, it's a bit of a, and again that just comes from experience and talking to other sculptors and stuff like that. But it helps you. There's a bit of carving involved as well, and so there's all those sorts of things that you can do to sculpt something to get something to come out.
And people approach you to have something sculpted and then on-sell it afterwards? Is that how it's worked, or have you sort of broken out into your own sort of...
Yeah, well, so the way it works, I guess, yeah, some people do say, hey, can you sculpt me this? And then you say, okay, well, it's going to cost... I charge like a per millimetre price. So say if it's a 120 mil figure, I'll charge something, some amount per mil.
Yep.
Because time, how long's a piece of string?
Yeah,
I don't really,
exactly.
some things can vary.
Yep.
And then, so usually when I tell them the price, 99% of the time they go, okay, thanks.
I
don't hear from them again.
Yep.
So, and sort of going by that, really, I get the occasional commission for sculpting, but so it sort of progressed to, okay, well, they don't want to buy this figure that I spent hours and hours in doing, right, for X amount. So I decided what I'd do is sculpt it and then cast it and then sell the copies, because the copies, they're paying a fraction of the price, right? So
exactly.
And that's how it all sort of works. So, but so that's how it sort of went, and it sort of from a sculpting perspective, when you're doing something like that, you've got to sort of take into consideration that because it's a one-off sculpt, you don't have to worry about it going, okay, well, this has got to get cast. So when you're sculpting a figure to be cast, it's got to be cast in parts, pieces.
Correct, yeah.
So it's two different processes, you know, and approaches that you use when you're sculpting a figure. That's either going to be a one-off or a commercial casting
So
piece.
is there any particular genre of figure you sculpt, like historical, fantasy?
Yeah, well, I'm from more of the old school historical background, and so I like my, you know, I grew up watching Zulu and watching the Battle of Britain and
I gotta say,
The Longest Day. And
your Rorke's Drift one is sensational.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
I
was really impressed with that.
Yeah, I didn't get anything on that. So obviously, they didn't like that. I did. That was based off a Rick Scollins illustration, so I saw the picture and I thought I loved it. Well, I love Zulu, so I thought I'll have a crack. So that came from basically a two-dimensional or one-dimensional drawing. So I had to go through the process. I started that back in January 2023, and went through a whole lot of trials and tribulations and bits and pieces, and finally it sort of turned out with the help of Jason Miller, who's been on your show. And he's done a little bit of 3D tweaking for me with the Martini Henry rifles that two gentlemen are carrying in the vignette. So I put that all together. Jason cast it for me, and there's the display. So it sort of turned out from a flat illustration through to a in 1/16 scale, so it was good. Yeah.
How long would it take you to do that particular sculpt from beginning to end?
Tough question.
It is a tough question.
I know it's a tough question.
It did literally take me months, because even up through to January, February this year, it was a bit of back and forth with trying to just a little bit of fitting sort of stuff, playing around with fitting issues. So, look, you know, I work full-time shift work, so so again, this being a hobby, on the side, it's sort of you sort of got to work it in with your life.
Fit it in when you can.
Yeah, exactly. So some days you'll spend hours and you'll get some stuff done, and then the next day you'll go, that was wrong. I've got to start all over again.
No.
That's the other thing with sculpting. It'll go in a lot of other areas too. People do writing things or writing theses or drawing or taking photos, and that is when you're sitting there staring at something. It sort of becomes a pointless exercise, because you can come back the next day and something will be just sitting out in front of you going, why?
I call it
didn't I see that?
Becoming subject blind.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you guys probably know all about that. And yeah. So that's the other thing with sculpting. So, and you can do something, and then the next day you can go, oh my God, what the hell?
What have I
thinking?
just done?
Yeah. What drugs am I on? So, anyway, so. Yeah, so that's I've been doing the historical stuff, but something a few years back I was approached by someone to do a caricature of a character from a military comedy show. So I had a crack at doing the head, and things sort of fell through with that little job. So I ended up keeping the head, and some of my colleagues suggested that I could probably sculpt the rest of the torso. And they, you know, it was a pretty good, I got good feedback on that. So anyway, I thought, well, just to make sure it's, you know, it was a caricature, and I have some background in drawing caricatures. But I thought, well, gee, I wonder if that was a fluke. So I had another go at a different character from the same show. And that sort of turned out okay too. So from there, it's 7 characters later, and I've been selling stuff all over the world with those particular guys. So
and you can mention them.
I can?
Yeah.
I'm not going to get done for copyright.
No, that's on you.
So,
your sculpts.
Well, I call them the Home Guard. So
there you
the
go,
Home
that's
Guard
a big clue.
series. And there's a few characters there, like the like the medic, and then there's the Captain Pompous.
Yeah.
Well, Captain Pompous is actually coming out as a full figure too.
Oh, cool.
So he's going to be about 150 millimetres tall. So, and yeah, so that's there's a few there. If they're around on, I don't sell through any particular distributors. I pretty much, because it's a hobby. People are happy to. They can contact me through Messenger or whatever they want to do. So,
well, that's a very important question. How can people reach you? Where do they find you?
Well, basically, I'm on Instagram and Facebook and those other messaging apps that are linked, and WhatsApp and whatnot. But it's just Wybros Sculpts. So
do you want to spell that?
YBROSSCULPTS. So Wybros Sculpts, and something will come back somewhere on there. And you can find my work on there. And
fantastic.
Very good.
Oh,
it's been great having you on the show, Chris.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
No, our pleasure, mate. Good to have you on.
Thank you.
No worries.
Chris Becker from Becker's Model Aircraft joins us now. G'day, mate.
G'day, David. G'day, Ian. How are both of you going?
Fantastic. Well. Thanks, buddy.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Now, we've dragged you on because you are a well-known and outspoken advocate for aircraft in flight.
Yes.
I call it a personal crusade. The rest of the internet calls me an annoyance.
I've seen some of the flame wars pop up.
It's really easy to wind aircraft models up. I call them car modelers because they do wheels down all the bloody time. Excuse my French. So, yeah, my rule is 98% of what you see out there is wheels up, wheels down, and it should be the other way around, in my opinion.
Yeah. Look, I love your passion, and I love where you're coming from, and I don't disagree with you.
Oh, good. That's one.
Well, there you go.
I'm trying to convert people one at a time, slowly. So that's why I like it. This show,
just chipping away.
Yeah, this is the first year I've sponsored an award. So I thought, because Queensland, for some reason, there's something in the water up here. Every year, I've been doing QMHE for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
There's always 5 or 6 in-flight aircraft. Always.
Yes. Well, I think there is about 5 or 6 on the tables today.
Well, 6 of them are mine. I just bolster the numbers up. But so I wanted to encourage people to do that. So I thought, let's sponsor an award. Spoke to the committee. They were really welcoming with that idea. And so this year, I'm going to pick not one of mine. It'll be one of the other ones out there as the best in-flight. And it doesn't have to be an aircraft. It can be sci-fi. It can be... There's a beautiful Warhammer piece right down the end there. I'm very tempted.
That little one?
Yeah,
that
the little one.
Firehawk.
Firehawk.
Yeah, that looks amazing, doesn't it?
Because what he's done with that is what I love to see with, you see that in figure modelers, and I'm going to really flame war some people here. I don't think aircraft modelers are very courageous or imaginative these days. They just think, let's just open every panel, let's see the engine. And what else is there to do? Whereas you've got guys who did that little Warhawk, he's painted a curved background. You've got the dynamic of it in flight. You've got the colours. It looks like it's flying, like it's supposed to be bloody designed to do.
Yes.
And it looks great. It's not just sitting on a table. Anyway, I got to calm down. I'll have a try.
We've spoken about it on the show already about what we've seen here, but there's in particular one that really grabbed me was those 2 F-111s flying in formation, and that was done by a guy as a gift to the pilot.
Yes.
And the aircraft is modelled aircraft that the pilot actually flew. So you got one in Southeast Asian camouflage. The other one is in the
late tactical grey. That's right. Yeah.
Or as I call it, the pig scheme.
The pig scheme. Yeah.
And they just look gorgeous, and they're both sort of banked over to the left slightly, and it just looks a fantastic way of displaying it.
Yeah, instead of just being flat, it's on an angle.
Well, to give you a scoop, that's my choice.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go.
Because that to me, it speaks to everything of what modelling aircraft in flight is. You get that touch of, hey, this is what they look like in reality. This is how we deployed them. And it's lifted off the table and it just looks fantastic.
Another one I liked was there's an Australian, I think it's in 48 scale or 72nd P51 Mustang in flight, but rather than have like a backdrop, he's got like the ground movement.
That's a really good model because it's mine.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go.
that is. Thanks, Ian. That's the little 172 Airfix that I literally slapped together. I got the idea from Stuart Halton to fill in the spinner. So instead of having the props blur, and everyone says that's a bit of a put-off, and it is somewhat. You see a clear plastic disc, or you see the prop just sitting there in the air, not spinning.
No one's been able to manufacture it to look 100% real.
So the compromise, what I did there was I filled in the prop hub, and then I put the spinner when it was properly filled in. I put it in a Dremel tool, and I just shot the airbrush at it, and you get that blur effect around of the black propeller blades going around it, and that's it. Done.
Wow.
It's really easy to do.
Yeah,
So
that sounds like a really easy concept.
I'm going to do that with. I've motorised other ones. I've got a Lancaster over there. I haven't turned the engines on, but that's motorised, so the props do spin.
Yep.
But that's a pain to do. So this is a good shortcut, I think.
But see, here's the thing, though, because it's perfectly natural in the ship modelling side of things to have either a static model or have it actually in water, displayed in water. The armour guys, they got no problem putting their. In fact, it looks odd if a tank isn't on a base these days, and more and more you're seeing people doing it. Come to aircraft, and it's not as big as or as accepting as perhaps
it's not,
and that's in the other genres.
That's one of the things I want to push people towards is get your model off the table. I hate seeing, I should say hate, it's my own personal taste. I hate seeing a model wheels down on the blue thing or on a piece of paper. At least put a base on it. The way I'm going to try to help with that, and this is what I'm trying to do, and I've spoken to Julian and yourself before about this, I'm developing flight stands made out of 3D printing material that you can easily just whack it on. And the way I've designed them, and the way they're done is they're unobtrusive, they're going to be magnetised, so there's no cutting of the model. You just put the magnet inside the fuselage, you put a magnet on the outside, it's done.
Yeah, funny with this whole in-flight, excuse me, when we were all kids, and we built our model aeroplanes, what did we do with them?
Flew them.
We hung them off the freaking ceiling.
And I have a suspicion, and I've had it out with a couple of Polish modelers of all people. I actually think that one of the reasons why aircraft modelers don't want to display in flight is they don't want to admit to everyone, I'm a 12-year-old boy in a 40-year-old man's body. Because I am. I'm 12 years old inside. I'm still that kid that loves to, like there's the air show at the Gold Coast this weekend, and I was, I watched all the photos of them flying around going, whoa, that's cool. And I'm nearly 50, for God's sake. So that's the thing. I think a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to, oh, no, I'm the serious modeler. Look, mate, it's a plastic toy.
And the other thing
it's an aircraft. Get it in there.
And doing it in flight, you remove all that stress of getting the landing gear right, and it's all straight, and making sure you've got the flattening on the tyres.
But then you have this is my other personal vendetta against the model manufacturers, is it's really, really hard to convert to in flight. You need a separate set of skills. You need to be able to know how to deflect the flying surfaces. You need to know how to fill the landing gear properly. Most of them are out of scale and don't fit closed up, so you have to do it yourself. That's another thing I'm doing with 3D printed parts. I'm making my own parts to do that, so you just whack it in.
Yep.
And also you can convert it to wheels down, because I'll magnetise them as well, just like Tamiya used to with their 132 aircraft.
Yeah, that's correct.
They don't do that anymore, unfortunately. It's and then I watched the Scale Scriber, is it Harvey Lowe, I think?
Yeah.
Who's doing the space shuttle, and now as a side little project, he's doing a Tamiya F-16, and he spent 100 hours on the landing gear.
Yeah.
And I told him jokingly, oh, you could just, because I've got a Tamiya F-16 here, and that one is a 5-minute file, whack, it's finished.
Yeah.
You close the gears up and it's ready to go. And the F-16 looks bloody good flying along.
Yeah, they do.
It does. Well, that's not to say that, and I'm not here banging away that, people should have all their aircraft flying, because I quite enjoy looking at them sort of, with wheels down as well. I don't care, but what does bother me is when people get their back up that you're trying to sort of push this barrow.
Well, I have a personal opinion that there's more than one hobby. I've been saying that for years. I actually think aircraft modelling is bifurcating. It's going down that track of being into a hyper-real, hyper-detailed, we need to have all the panels opened up, we need to see everything, we need to have cockpit, and that's great. I love that, and I want to do it with a few models. I mean, I'm hyper-detailing a Super Sea Stallion right now, although we'll be flying, hovering. But I think there's room in the hobby to have more than one view. I think
agree.
There's the ability to have...
And that's what I rail against,
me too.
where people just close the door and say no. Yeah.
Because I like I said, I reckon there's at least 3 hobbies within our hobby. There's the guys who like to just do a replica. I just want a desktop model of a plane.
And that's fine.
There's a guy who wants it to be photographically perfect, your David Parkers.
And that's fine.
Great. And then there's the guys who like, hey, I'm going to make this a little artistic looking, like Uncle Night Shift.
Yep.
And that looks great too.
Yeah, exactly
so
right.
why can't we all just say, hey, great, and put it, slap each other's backs and go, this is great. We're all doing the same but different hobby.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's remove these borders.
Exactly.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's a bit of a plug. I didn't see that one coming, David.
Chris, if anybody wants to reach out to you, how can they find you?
Well, I'm reluctantly back on social media. I try to take a break, but I've always been on YouTube on Becker's Model Aircraft, so I try to put a video up every fortnight or so. So reach me there, and I always respond to every comment, even the ones who say, you got your head in the sky, Becker. You should get wheels down again. And I'm like, nah. I'll stay here. Thanks very much. Yep. I'm having a lot of fun flying over the top of you guys.
I'm looking down at you.
Oh, I don't say that. Ian.
I'm high. You're looking down.
I don't say that online.
Now we're going to get the hate mail. Now we're going to get the hate mail.
But I've helped so many people. If you have any questions, you want to know how do you convert a kit? Where do you get the clear acrylic rod? That's my number one question. Where do you get that from? How do you do the blur bases? How do you do that? I will answer all those questions. Because I want to see more of it.
And how do they find you to get those questions answered?
YouTube Becker's Model Aircraft or Facebook Becker's Models.
There you go.
That's it.
Nice and easy.
Nice and easy.
Thanks for having me.
Mate, thanks for being on the show.
Cheers.
Always good.
Oh, before we go, you got anything to say about Julian?
Julian is a good old friend of mine, and I've spoken to him for years online, and he sounds exactly the same behind the microphone as in front of the microphone. He's a good mate. That's all I'm going to say.
When the microphone was switched off, that's not what you're going to say.
Shit stirrer.
All right, catch you, bye.
See ya.
See you, mate.
And we are pleased to welcome on the bench Brett Green.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's great to be here in sunny Ipswich.
I know, it's been awesome, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really
Beats Melbourne weather.
Yes. Well, we moved to Lithgow.
Oh, did you?
Which, for anybody who doesn't live in New South Wales, I guess, is a very cold town about 2 hours west of Sydney. And when we left, we walked to the station, it was 6 degrees Celsius. And when we got off the plane, it was 29. So,
oh, lovely.
Big difference.
It's a big difference.
Yeah. So came all the way up just to have a look at the show?
We did, yes. My wife has joined me this time as well, Debbie, and we've sort of tacked a day on either side and made it a bit of a holiday too. No, it's great. Really good.
What are your thoughts on the show?
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I believe there's 680 odd entries.
Yes.
When I spoke to someone last. And the quality is fantastic. But what really struck me was the variety of subject matter.
Yes.
So, buildings and dioramas. And the other notable issue, I think, is the gaming.
Yep.
And the figures.
And the wide variety of vendors.
And a very wide variety of vendors. Vendors, yes, that's right. Benders, I suppose a few have had benders over the years.
Yeah.
The Gundam side of it also blows me away how many models we've got on the tables there, which is just fantastic to see because it's a huge part of the hobby that for the traditional modeler is hidden, but it's a big part of our industry. And certainly coming forward, there's going to be a lot more that we're going to be seeing of that, which is absolutely amazing.
Yep.
It's a fantastic bridge as well, I think, between younger people and the traditional modelers.
Yeah, 100%.
So, fully agree.
Is there anything in particular that really jumps out at you? I mean, because I've got a couple of favourites already, but is there any sort of ones that really jump out at you?
Even though I've been here for most of the day, I've still only managed to actually do a single sort of reconnaissance.
I know what it's like, yeah.
Around the circumference of the room. And most of the rest of the time, I've just been catching up with people and chatting with people. So
you take 2 steps, talk to someone new.
Exactly, that's right. But it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon here. The doors have just shut.
Yeah.
And the judging is about to begin, so I thought I would take the opportunity of going around now.
Yeah,
that's
what I'm doing now. Yep.
That's right. Now I could just leave a space here, and then I can put in the model that I like. Yes, I really enjoyed.
It's been a while since we've seen you, Brett. So what have you been up to?
I think had we moved house to Lithgow?
You had, I
we
think,
had
yeah.
just
Yeah.
moved
Just
at
moved,
that stage. So in that time, I've been spending a lot of my time actually customising the house to suit all of my various obsessions.
Sure.
Good.
So we built a 7 by 7 metre shed in the backyard mostly for storage.
Mm-hmm.
It's not completely filled with models. There's about half of it that is though. And we converted the 1.5 car garage under the house to a new office.
Nice.
So I should send you a little link actually. I got some videos of the office as it was going together as well.
Oh, cool.
Very cool. But it's luxurious in a lot of ways to be able to customise a space entirely to exactly what you want. So I've got the photography covered, the model building, and also the desk for the magazine editing and so forth.
Yep. Well, I've been like you. I've been pleased with the place that we bought 6 years ago, where I was able to do exactly that. So I could customise the model room because I had a whole room to myself. And it's funny, once I sort of set it up, I didn't like it, so I tore it down and redid it.
Oh, no.
That didn't work. We'll try again.
That's right, yeah. Second time lucky.
Yeah, but it's funny how you sort of, you get set in the ways where you sit, and it's only when you look at other people's benches and how they've got it all laid out, and you think, oh, gee, that works really good. I might try that.
Yeah, that's right. My wife had a big input in this as well, so she was... very conscious of the ergonometric implications of where I was sitting and where I was reaching and what I was doing. So, no, I'm pretty happy with it at the moment.
Oh, good.
Very cool. Yeah.
And what's on your bench at the moment?
I have a 35th scale. Is it? Oh, now I've had a mental blank. Skink. The 420mm anti-aircraft turret on Canadian Grizzly.
Yes.
So that's an interesting one in 35th scale. I've also got the Edward 48 scale P51B.
Oh, you've got one already?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Still gotta get one of them.
Finished construction. I'm just trying to decide what markings I want on the thing at the moment.
There's only one Pacific War marking, and that is there.
There weren't a lot of them in the Pacific.
No.
I think they were mostly Northern Europe.
Yeah.
So France and Italy and UK. So I think there's still plenty of interesting possibilities,
definitely.
and Aussie possibilities as well.
Yes.
So we flew 3 squadron out of Fano in Italy.
Yes.
And there's some really attractive markings there with the Southern Cross on the medium blue field on the tail.
I remember I did the Armour Hobbies.
Oh, yeah, what a gorgeous kit. Absolutely gorgeous.
30-odd decals for the interior in 70-second scale. That's like, wow. It's just crazy.
Oh, no, it's nuts. It is nuts.
It's such a nice kit, though.
Yeah, and you photograph the thing and you wouldn't be able to tell it's 70-second scale.
That's right, yeah.
No, they're absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, we did that. Oh, I think that was the Moosearoo Cup.
Yes, that's right.
That,
yes.
So, of course, being an Aussie, I did the Aussie variant.
Absolutely, yes.
Didn't help you to win it, though, did it?
No. But then again, who I was up against was really tough. But there's some really good modelers out there.
Yeah, everyone's a winner, really.
Well, that's right. That's right.
I got a kit for free.
Well, you are a winner,
Well, it's been really great us coming up here. This is our first time up here in Queensland to the show, and Ian and I have had our little minds blown because it's just amazing, the scale and the people through the door. And I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to keep harping on it. The mix of people coming through, young, old, middle-aged, you got the whole gamut there, and it's equally sort of distributed. A lot of young people. I can't count the number of kids under the age of, I want to say, 12, walking out the door with a model kit under their arm.
Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it?
Isn't that great to see?
That's what we need in the hobby.
Yeah,
Isn't
it really
great
is
to see?
that bridge, yeah. It is fantastic. And obviously the podcast listeners can't see it, but we're sitting on a stage this time.
Yeah, we've got a great view.
It's great. I should have brought my tails and top hat or something. But we've got this panoramic view of all of the traders and the displays and the clubs and the competition, and all under one roof. It just looks fantastic.
I've heard on the grapevine that they're expanding next year, so they're going to take another pavilion, move into another area as well, because they're sort of outgrowing this area. So
yeah, good problem to have.
Great problem to have.
Keep it growing.
And the crowds that were through earlier on today as well.
Yeah, it's just constant. It's not like dribs and drabs. It was just a constant stream of people coming in.
No, that's right.
So it's been terrific. Well, is this your first or time up here in Queensland for the show?
No, I've been probably to 3 or 4 before.
Right.
So
you would have seen it grow then over the years?
Yes, seen it from the previous venue at the sports stadium there, and moving here the last time I was up in Queensland. So no, this is a beautiful venue. It's a fantastic venue.
Yep.
Plans to get down to Canberra this year?
Definitely be in Canberra this year.
Oh, cool. We'll catch up with you there too.
Yeah. Another place with a new venue. Everyone seems to be needing more space these days.
Yeah. Well, as you said, what a terrible problem to have.
It is a terrible problem to have. And hopefully Model Expo next year as well. So
cool.
Yeah.
Haven't been there for a few years either.
Well, the guys in Canberra put on a fantastic show.
Yeah, brilliant.
And friendly as heck. And it's the nightlife that is just as interesting as
the nightlife is great.
as the actual show.
Right.
Because we all go to, where's the area we go to there?
Barton, I think it is.
Barton, yeah. We hang out. There's all the microbreweries there, and all who's who in the modelling world sort of hang out there, and it's a really great sort of atmosphere, and we just love going there, and the guys down there really strive to sort of build that sort of community, not actually within the show itself or the exhibition itself, but outside of it as well, which is really, really good and the way to go.
Yeah.
And we've just had the best time up here so far.
Oh, yeah. It's
Ian
been
and I.
fantastic.
We've been well looked after.
Yep.
And kudos to all the guys who are running this show. You know what? I thought I saw, I want to say his name's Dave, the show director, earlier on. He was sitting down with his feet up.
Oh.
It's like, everything's just running along tickety-boo.
That's a very good sign for a
very
very well organised.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That means things are running smoothly.
Yeah, he wasn't running around sort of flustered or anything,
No.
just sitting back with his feet up. I thought, wow.
Yeah.
It goes to show it's well sort of run and well set up so you can sit back and do that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Brett, it's always awesome to catch up with you.
Yes.
Always terrific to chat to you guys too. Pleasure to be on. So,
You got any other news you want to share with us?
Well, as I was sitting here, I just thought about. I was thinking about what else is of great interest. Something that had completely passed me by somehow was the gas patch 172nd scale ME163. Were you guys aware of that kit?
No.
It is to die for.
Oh,
absolutely.
In 172nd.
172nd scale. Now they did their injection molded 48 scale kit
Yes, that's
a few
right.
years ago. But this one, I was just passing by some web page and I saw that this kit was available. And I don't know if you've seen many of Gas Patch's accessories and
I've seen their accessories,
and how they're luxuriously packed with this foam cut to size.
The Brennan and the Lewis guns. And,
Exactly, that's right. Well, they've basically taken that principle and just scaled it up to a full model.
So it's injection molded?
No.
Okay.
It's 3D,
Right.
3D, and it's packed like those small guns.
Wow, okay.
With individual parts, and the detail is astounding, absolutely astounding. No photo etch, I don't think.
No.
I stand to be corrected there.
Have you seen
but
the Copper State Models motorcycles?
No, I haven't. No.
Ian's been having kittens over this.
I recently, was it last year, I bought their Triumph T1,
right.
and it's 4 pieces, and 135th scale, and they've even got the fuel lines.
Oh, man.
Wait, this thing is just to die for.
Yeah. I've been thinking about looking for a 35th scale motorcycle just because I find the plastic spokes so annoying on an injection molded kit.
Yes.
So, yes.
Well, the one that Ian's found, it's a sidecar setup as well. It's got
really?
a machine gun on there, and it looks pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
This is really good for a podcast, but I've got a picture of the motorcycle in front of me. And believe me, it really does look beautiful.
That's
amazing.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Big fan of their stuff.
Terrific. Brett, once again, thanks very much for popping on the show.
Pleasure.
We'll catch up with you in Canberra.
Yes, for
and
sure.
looking forward to seeing you then. In the meantime, hope everything goes well between now and then.
I'm sure it will. Thanks very much.
Thanks, mate.
See you soon. Bye.
No.
And now we have joining us Paul Gloster, a.k.a. the Quokka.
Hello, how are you? I've got a smile like a quokka on my face this weekend.
Well, you've had a very busy weekend, haven't you?
I have, yes. It's been a little bit of Paul weekend this weekend between model shows and sitting on the beach watching air shows.
How freaking great is that?
And
must we say, a very hospitable host, because we popped in on the way to your place on the way up here. And
no.
had one of your lovely wife's peanut butter cookies.
Yes, they are good. They've all gone.
Right.
So,
Well, we helped finish them off. Had a look at your man cave and where all the magic gets made.
That's right. Yeah, the place where plastic comes together to make me happy.
Yes,
Which is surprisingly, you work in a very small sort of area. And it fascinates me having a look at people's build rooms and their man caves just to see, how they're set up. And Man, you're in a really small space.
It's probably why I build 72nd scale.
Probably
That
is.
would be a reason, yes. But I was also thinking, like, you look at most of the top builders.
Yeah.
Work in small spaces.
Or they don't. It's not the. It's not the space that makes the great artist. It's the artist itself.
The artist. There you go. Ooh, really.
Yeah, well, it's my little part of the garage. And it's set up just how I want it. So.
Too true. Too true. So, no, we've really enjoyed ourselves here so far. It's We've had an absolute ball for our first time here at QMHE.
It's such a good show. It really is.
Definitely hoping to get back next year.
Yeah, and I got to spend, a bit of time in the US and got to quite a lot of shows in the US. And
you've got a bit of a following now in the States too, by the looks of it.
I met a lot of great people when I was there. I
awesome guys,
took advantage of the time and made it to a lot of model shows. And this is about the size of one of the regionals over there. The one that I think of most is there's a great competition in Indiana up north of Indianapolis called Roscoe Turner.
Yep.
I've heard that one, yep.
Yeah, this is almost identical to Roscoe Turner. So for your US listeners, it probably just gives a bit of a benchmark.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Good. Good.
Very
And
cool.
the vendors are huge here. The quality of the kits on the table is just mind blowing.
I don't know if it's got to do with the sunny weather and the
Oh,
climate,
well,
but geez, you guys really know how to build models.
Yeah, there's always been a lot of really high quality models turn out here, and even on the display tables as well.
Yes.
When you have a look around and see, and there's been some great support this year from some of the vendors that are here also. So yeah, no, I like I said, it's I guess it's my kind of home comp.
Yeah,
it is.
It's the shortest one I have to drive to. I don't have to. You drove 2 days. I have to drive down to Melbourne for 2 days, and anything in the US is a 15-hour flight.
Yeah,
so
that's
exactly,
right.
yes.
15-hour flight, yes, and
that's
the rest.
Right, as we go. So,
well, that's probably flying to Hawaii, having a break, and then flight, continue on.
or back via Japan. So
I had to do it.
Yeah,
I had to do it.
Yeah. So I mean, we saw each other, Dave, in Melbourne.
Yes.
Madison.
Yes.
And now Ipswich.
And then coming up.
And coming up as well on the
Canberra.
That's right. Yeah. Coming up Canberra.
The Crocker 4 times in 1 year. Oh gosh. Can I get a prescription for that?
Yeah, it's kicker quacker, isn't it?
That's illegal, mate. So, how'd you go?
Okay, yeah, good. The wind shield's here. And
I love that wind shield.
Thank you.
That just amazes me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause you see photos of it. I think I mentioned it when I was at your place. The photos just don't compare to actually seeing it in person.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. So,
And in fact, because we're lucky enough to see the second wind shield that you've got.
Yeah.
And in some respects, I love that one even more because the second wind shield you've got is the silver with that orange day glow on it. And the way you've done that day glow and that sort of the faded sort of style is the way we see wind shields flying today.
And don't forget the backstory to that wind shield, which is...
Yeah, so that was the first one that I actually built, and that particular wind shield was the aircraft that my father did his first solo on in the Air Force.
Yeah.
So the little figure on it, he was a bit of a rebel, and he painted his flying helmet red. So the figure on it has his red helmet as well.
How did they get away with doing that?
I don't know how he did, but he got away with it. And I actually had dinner with him last night. And
Oh, did you?
And he was asking me, he's going, how'd the wind shield go? How'd the wind shield go? So I did the first one 3 weeks, that silver one.
Yeah.
I did it in the middle of COVID as a bit of a...
Palette cleanser?
A bit of a challenge, I think, to build a model. And then I took a bit more time on this second one. It took me 6 weeks to do that.
Yeah, wow.
But your 72nd scale kits are really such nice and they're so clean and well, any wonder you pick up first at Madison. Like it's such a freaking great build.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, I've got a lot of great people that I know that I can talk to and learn from, and kind of push some boundaries as well. So, and the wind shield was definitely one to push the boundaries. I think that...
Well, considering 9 out of 10 American modelers would not have a clue about that aircraft to begin with.
No, well, even at Telford, someone was standing there and said, "I've never seen a camouflaged Matchbox Provost before."
Oh, really?
So
it ain't a Provost.
It's not a Provost. But I think the engine has more parts than the actual kit. The actual little engine has 99 parts versus the kit itself, I think, has only got about 20 parts.
Wow, 90 odd parts just for that tiny little engine.
Yeah. It's a great company out of Israel called Small Stuff, and they make fantastic, highly detailed, way too detailed 72nd scale engines. And I put one of those in it.
You have to.
Yeah, you just have to.
And then open the way the engine cowling opens like a sandworm.
Yeah.
From June, it just opens up in 4 different places.
Stranger Things is what.
That's the one.
Yeah,
yes.
everyone. It was a Demigorgon.
Demigorgon,
like
that's it. Demigorgon mount.
That's right. Yeah, the Demigorgon windshield.
So I'm really excited about your new project that you've started on.
Mm-hmm.
And having said that, when we went and had a look at your man cave, you've got a lot of projects sitting in the.
As we all do.
We don't call it the shelf of doom at your place, do you?
No, it's the shelf of possibilities.
Yes. So that's a very positive way of putting it.
Yes.
But your latest one that you're looking to tackle, which is a classic Aussie subject.
Yeah.
And it's 2 Avro Ansons that crashed in mid-flight.
Yes.
And remarkably, the pilot was... And they welded together.
Yes.
And the pilot managed to crash land them both. And... You're building that particular subject.
Yes. So I think the background story was to training
Token Wall or somewhere like that in Victoria.
Central New South
Wales.
Yeah,
something like that.
Wagga, I think it was. They were flying out of, and they were doing a cross-country navigation exercise, and in the middle of a turn, either the top one or the bottom one didn't see the other one, and they crashed into each other. To the point where, they, as you said, Dave, they basically got stuck together. Lower pilot, like in a moment of absolute brilliance, put the throttles full forward and locked the controls. He bailed out, his navigator bailed out, the navigator in the top aircraft bailed out, and the pilot of the top aircraft landed it safely in a paddock.
That's amazing.
There's a lot of photos of it. But it's something that I've kind of always wanted to do, that scene.
Yeah. That's what I like about most of your stuff. It's not just I'm building a model of this aeroplane. No, it's a complete subject matter.
It's some history behind it, a story behind it.
Particular subject.
Yeah, I think my ultimate aim is to have every single A number in the Australian Defence Forces.
Wow.
So by putting them like that, not only are you showing they're all in 72nd scale, so you can sit there and say, well, that's what an Avro 504 looked like, and that's what a C-17 looks like. But you can also put the history together to be able to go, well, here's an incident that happened with these aircraft. And I think if you remember at Expo a few years ago, the P-40 with the damaged wing.
Well, that was also at Omaha, wasn't it?
Yes, that was at Omaha as well. So, once, hopefully, when they're all together, you'll be able to go, well, this is where it started and this is where it is whenever I get to wherever I get to.
And here's an interesting point in history on this particular aircraft.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So it's kind of almost telling the story.
I have to laugh because, as you mentioned earlier on, we were both in the States at the same time heading off to Madison. And it was kind of an in-joke that, the who's who of the American modelling world had to have their Aussie companion travelling in the car with them.
The token Aussie.
The token Aussie. I was with those hayseeds. And, of course, you were travelling up with...
Steve and Mark.
Yeah. Mark's an interesting guy.
Yeah, look, I had a couple of great days in Minnesota, in Minneapolis with them both.
Yeah.
They were the best hosts you could possibly imagine. Stayed at Steve's, and Mark took me around town and showed me a lot of the sites around what Minneapolis is famous and St. Paul is famous for. Took me to this great model shop called The Dungeon.
Oh, cool.
Which is huge. You literally go downstairs and they've got all of this old, rare, second-hand stuff. Picked up a whole lot of things I hadn't seen in years. And then, we jumped in the car and, like I said, Steve and Mary Husted hosted me, and I spent a day and a half just sitting at Steve's desk, talking to him about models. Just
he's
and
the
that was
nicest guy, isn't he?
Yeah, and
very
such
unassuming.
A good modeler, such a great modeler as well.
And so willing to open and share what he's doing and how he does stuff as well.
Yeah, well, the thing that happened is I'd taken a Spitfire across, and we were pulling out the models and having a look at them, and I realised that the little pitot tube had broken off. And so it was in the bottom of the box, so we left it on the foam and then put it up and came back the next day, could not find it. Both of us are on our hands and knees on the carpet looking at the carpet monster to find out where it was. So I ended up sitting at Steve's desk, scratch building a 72nd scale Spitfire pitot tube to be able to put it into the contest.
But what was the problem with doing that, though?
It was great.
The painting?
The painting.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, Steve's mainly a Luftwaffe modeler, so I'm trying to kind of mix up a RAF Azure blue. And I think we got it pretty close, actually, the two of us working on it. So, there are little things like that, because of the community and the fraternity that we have, it's a great experience.
Because Steve's no slouch when it comes to building either, is he?
No, absolutely amazing.
I think he got best of show when we were at...
I think he got
best of show at every
Omaha, with
the Frederick Shaven.
The triplane.
Yes, magnificent
Which
model.
is scratch built.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes, he does things that I can only ever hope to one day.
Yeah,
but it speaks volumes for the hobby, though, that you and I can travel overseas and we're as welcome as if we were next door. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no airs or graces about it.
Yeah.
I mean, Dave Knight's took me into his home for 3 or 4 nights and I just lounged around his pool and drank his beer and ate his food.
Yeah.
But we had a great time. We really did.
Probably glad to see the arse end of you, Dave.
It's funny when you're sitting down with modelers and just open a box and just start talking, and the common ground comes so quickly.
It does.
But the funny thing is, Dave and I very rarely talked about modelling, apart from we went to the museums and all that, because he studied political science or politics when he was in university, studying for his law degree. And we spoke for nearly 2 days on politics and on legal stuff, and because that was something we sort of bonded over and spoke about.
Yeah,
it was really cool.
Very cool.
Anyway, mate, we're going to see you down in Canberra. Looking forward to it.
Yes.
And I might be back in the US next year for a particular show. I don't know which one yet. So I'll see how I go for that.
Try to make it to the Nats while I can, and it's it's a great experience. And
I'm hoping to get to the Nats the next few years. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Got it. All right, gents. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
No
I'll
problem.
catch you around at the next show.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Ian.
Cheers,
worries,
mate.
buddy.
Bye. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce the director of QMHE, David Deryck.
Thank you.
How are you, mate?
Good. Pleased to be here. Thank you very much for having us.
Well, we're extremely pleased to be here. We've been having an absolute ball.
Yes, we have.
That's excellent. That's excellent. We're really grateful that you guys have come up.
Oh, you really looked after us. It's been fantastic.
Oh, it's good. So, you always hope to give a good impression to visitors.
Definitely have.
That way, as in any business, return customers is the way to go.
I've got to say, you guys have put on a cracker of a show.
Yeah. Thanks, mate. I appreciate it.
An absolute cracker. I can't believe how many vendors you got here. What do you got, 40?
Yeah, roughly that. I think just under... I'd have to look the books up, but it'd be all up across the whole hall.
Yeah,
I've got about 52 sites, including clubs and vendors.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jeez.
That's good.
And then on
for a small little organisation. Yep.
Oh yeah.
And then on top of that, models for entries, is it over the 600 mark?
652 entries on the table. We had about 680 registered online, but you always get a few that don't turn up.
Yep.
Yeah. But 652 broke last year's record of 606. So yeah,
that's a big bonus.
So for our listeners, how does QMHE work? How is it sort of designed? It's not run by an individual club. It's a conglomerate, isn't it? Or a confederation.
When it was set up, we started this show, and I'm showing my age here because I actually was the competition secretary for the first show in 1996.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Right. So I've been involved for a long time.
Yeah.
Not every year, but I've been involved for a long time. The show is every year we have an annual general meeting at the end of the year.
Yep.
And all the clubs the clubs own the QMHE. So for the clubs, we have member clubs, we have invitational clubs. All the member clubs pay a membership fee.
Yep.
And that gives them voting rights then to be a member of the QMHE. The invitational clubs are ones that might be newer clubs. We invite them along for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Then we offer them membership after that.
Okay.
They then get voting rights as well after they join. But basically then, there's about 27, I think, registered clubs we've got all up.
Jeez, that's a fair whack.
Yeah. Some are, obviously we've got bigger ones like our IPMS, our AMS, our Riverside. They're our 3 bigger ones in Southeast Queensland. But we have them coming from Tweed Valley, up to Toowoomba, Sunshine Coast.
The boys came down from Rocky as well.
We had a heap of boys. I was speaking to them before.
Yeah. Good crew.
They are. And so at the AGM, nominations are taken, and it's taken from club members. It has to be a club member of a particular club, nominated, voted into the position. So it's run by the club members of the QMHE.
That's a really good way of doing it.
I got to say, I was really surprised because yesterday I spied on you, and you were pretty much sitting there with your feet up. So for a director of a show to be sitting back with his feet up, that
means
says
it's running well.
That says a lot about the organisation.
Yeah, it hasn't always been that way. No, trust me, it hasn't always been that way. And even this morning, I've had a couple of little issues, but there's nothing. I would have to say over the last 3 or 4 years, I haven't had any real major issues. You get your minor ones with somebody's interfering or somebody's standing in my bay or it's just minor noise more than anything.
Yep.
It can become irritating.
Yep.
Has anything.
Sure.
But all in all, and I judge how the show is running on the fact that, as you said, I was sitting down with my feet up. And if I'm not, and I'm running around putting out bushfires, then I've done something wrong.
Yep.
Now, this year was all online booking.
Yes.
That's the only way you could enter.
Yes.
And I think that helps sort of smooth things out.
Well, we've been leading into this for about 3 or 4 years now.
Yep.
We initially went to online booking about 4 years ago. And, back then we were getting 500 models in. 480 to 500. And our poor old competition secretary, Brett, who does a wonderful job. I mean, he's run off his feet across the weekend, and he was getting like 100 plus models walking in on the Friday night.
Yeah.
Which meant the poor sod was up till 2 and 3 in the morning typing all these into the thing.
Yeah.
And he was at the breaking point.
Yeah.
And I convinced him to stay 1 more year and said, mate, please, please, And he said, okay, I'll do 1 more if you can help me. So we then said, right, we've got to draw a line.
Yeah.
Okay. So we then started advertising that in 2 years' time, it is only going to be online only.
Yep.
Last year, we said you can come in and do online entries, but if you walk in, the price of putting the entry in will be 3 times the normal price.
Yep.
So it then discouraged.
Yes.
Good idea.
Right. And we, as I said, we found even this year, we had 20 odd kits that didn't make up. But we actually advertised and said, register it.
Yeah.
If you don't get there, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Because you're not paying for it until you get here.
Yep.
Right?
And you left the registration open for a while.
We left the registration open until Thursday night,
Yeah.
the night before, which then we have to close it off because obviously the boys have to then print out all their paperwork and stuff like that. We can't be doing that on Friday while we're here.
Yeah.
Right? So we close it off on the Thursday night. This year we went to total online, no walk-ins.
Yep.
We had 2.
Yeah.
Okay. And we did allow them.
Yeah.
I said, that's fine, look, because they were first-time entrants.
Okay.
They'd come in from an hour or plus away.
Yeah.
And they had never entered a competition before.
Okay.
That's
so
fair
I
enough,
went, look, okay, this is a situation next year. And they're going, no problem, we get it. So, I went to Telford about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yep.
And I found the way they did things over there, they were just, they're a lot bigger than us. They're 2-3 times bigger than us in competition. And they just disqualify people for putting things in the wrong category. And we try to discourage that. Yeah,
well, that's strict, isn't it?
They don't have the time.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with 1,600 models on a table and about 4 hours judging time, they don't have the time. So they basically say that if you put it in the wrong category,
it's on you.
So too bad, right? We're getting harder and harder at it, but we still have the chance to walk around, and the boys will move things around. If somebody comes in and puts this, and we go, look, that's not supposed to be in that category.
Yeah.
we try to keep the show as friendly and as family oriented as we can.
Yes.
And I want to pick up on that word family in a minute.
Yep.
But I want to circle back to, you got 640 odd on
652, yep.
On display, to be in the competition.
Yep.
But what we haven't spoken about was all the models on display.
In the club displays.
And that would be at least another 600 odd kits.
Oh, easy.
Or models,
easy,
I should say.
Easy,
yeah.
Easy. I don't normally just walk around and count them, but yeah, I mean,
in fact, I'd
my
say
club
more.
alone over here, we've got, we've done the D-Day display and we've probably got 150 models on there alone, you know. The others are all similar.
Yeah.
So, you know, as I said, we've got, I think about 15 clubs out on the floor at the moment. You multiply that by 100 models each. Adds up
That's
pretty quick.
a lot, yeah.
You know?
Very true.
Yeah.
The location is awesome. Plenty of parking, which is free parking.
It is.
Which is great. You get this massive hall, and it's not loud.
No.
It's well ventilated, so we've got some big-ass fans that are flying on the ceiling up here.
Yep.
Bit warm this weekend, unseasonably warm in Queensland, but we'll take it.
Hey, it beats Melbourne weather.
And I'm seeing there's not much room here for growth. So what are your plans moving forward next year?
Okay. It's been incredible, the growth over the 4 years that we have been in this venue. It has been exponential. It really has. We are almost at capacity. In fact, I had a couple of clubs in that pull out this week and one retailer pull out, unfortunately, which gave us a little bit more space to spread a few things.
Yep.
Going forward, we're in negotiations with the Ipswich Show Society to... we're looking at 3 other halls around the venue, which we may end up, moving the competition to the hall and then just make this retailers club.
Yeah.
That's a good idea, yeah.
But I want to try and keep everything as in-house as much as we can.
Yeah, I get that,
You know, I don't want to be moving to a hall 120 metres away. It's a bit out of hard. You know, there's one out the back here we're looking at. There's one downstairs we're looking at. So we do have the opportunity to expand.
Yeah.
But I am already. I've brought that up with the Show Society already in meetings a couple of months ago, and they've given me prices and what they can do for us. And
good.
Yeah, so it's just a case of now, if I have to sell, or if I start selling all the competition space, and as we can see, we actually extended the competition area this year because of the size. We do need more room, but we're not leaving here.
Yeah.
We're booked in here for the next 2 years.
Oh, good.
Okay. We love the venue. They love us.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I was talking to some of the traders, and they've been having a roaring weekend, which is fantastic to hear.
You like to hear that, you know.
Now, you used the word family earlier on, and I'm really keen to come back and sort of put some big underlines under this, because Ian and I are just blown away by the diversity of the people walking through the door.
Yeah.
You have got all walks of life and all ages.
Yeah.
It's not an old man sort of club.
It's not a Harry High Pants convention.
It's not.
I like that. No, you know, we've always, even from day one, we've tried to bring the juniors through.
Yeah.
As you know, with anything, any walk of life.
Yeah.
Kids got to come through and take over from us old fellas eventually.
That's true.
Otherwise, the
hobby dies.
Hobby dies. Anything dies. You know, clubs are getting harder and harder to recruit kids to.
Yeah.
We know that a lot of kids and teenagers and even up into their 20s and 30s now, they want that instant gratification.
Yes.
So die-cast is becoming a lot bigger
because
of that. Because they want to see a model of a V8 supercar.
Yes.
There it is.
Yeah.
They don't have to buy a kit, build it, whatever. You know? But we still, as you can see, look, there's family right there in front of us.
Yeah.
You know? Again, that has grown since we've been out here in Ipswich.
And
It's incredible.
a couple of your traders got make and take.
Yep.
So the kids can come sit down, make something, and just take it away.
Yeah, the Gundam Express organisation over there, they've been doing that for a couple of years.
Great job.
We have had other retailers do it. I think they're finding it a little bit harder with their time.
Yeah, I get that, yeah.
And then, of course, there's all the restrictions with Queensland Blue Cards and who can do things. We've got to make sure that everybody is
I never thought of that.
safety covered.
Of course.
You know,
No H&S.
Yeah, exactly. We've got all those issues that we've got to deal with. So, you know, when Cameron came to us last year and said he wanted to do it, we said, that's fine, mate, but you and your staff need to have blue cards. He got them for us
Oh, wow.
Gave us copies of them, and we were happy to go ahead. You know.
Oh, that's cool.
And the amount of kids I'm seeing walking out the door with kits under their arms, I'm blown away by that.
That's wonderful, isn't it? You
It
know,
is.
It is. From a hobby perspective, in the future of the hobby, you've got to say it'll still be around for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Long after we're gone.
Yeah.
We had a young guy on earlier on, Augustine, and I was so impressed I went and bought some paints for him to give to him to try, some SMS paints, so he was wrapped.
Oh, Scott Taylor from SMS.
Oh, didn't he do a wonderful job?
He's supported this show. He's supported a lot of shows around the country, but this show he has. We've stuck with him. He's stuck with us. For 4 or 5 years now. You know, we just ask him for something and he gives it to us.
Yeah.
You know, it's
those
amazing.
generous tote bags.
Oh, you know, well, that's a combination of a lot of his stuff. We did get some stuff from one of our other major supporters, Hobbies Australia.
Yes.
And from Newcastle. But yeah, I mean, we have sponsors from all over. You know, we have a number of individual sponsors who sponsor individual categories in the competition.
Yeah.
But the traders out there, Model Nerds, for example, will cover 5 categories. Other guys will cover 1 category, but it all just helps build the competition.
Yeah,
up,
it does, 100%.
Definitely.
Yeah. 100%. Well, all I can say is if you've never been to QMHE before and you live anywhere in Australia, consider next year. What time next year? Have you got a date
It's already
booked?
booked in. We were 17th, 18th this year. It's the 16th and 17th of August next year. Same place. We obviously have our website, qmhe.com. If by chance you go onto that early next year and it's not working, it's only because we're updating it.
Yeah.
We need to make it a little bit more user-friendly. We take feedback, so if anybody's got feedback, they can just email the secretary. Email the secretary, and we take all that feedback on and take it away and do what we can to improve the show.
Well, on improving, I've only got 2 points I'd like to consider moving forward. I've had a lot of people say that with the entrance, it doesn't say the kit or the scale or the kit manufacturer, which I think a lot of people find helpful.
Yeah, because I myself went down there and said today to one of the guys, what kit's this?
Yeah.
You know, so, yes, okay, we'll take that on. I'll take that on.
And just the other thing, maybe look at lifting the tables, have risers. I don't know whether you can do that or not. It's interesting. I was over at Nationals in Madison this year, and all the tables are on risers. And then they lifted it 6 inches, but man, it takes the pressure off your back when you're walking around looking at it.
And it'd be better for judging too.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be bending over as much. We'll talk to our hire company for that because we hire all the tables for that. And see what we can do. But no, definitely, I'll take that on board, Dave. That's fine. That's a good idea. I had not even considered that.
They're the only 2 improvements I can consider. Apart from that, Ian and I have just been blown away.
Oh, yeah, absolute ball.
Yeah,
thank you. As I said to you before, I really appreciate you guys coming up. You know?
It's been our pleasure.
Yeah,
and we're back next year.
Yeah,
thank you. Appreciate it. We'll have you back anytime you want to come.
No worries at all.
Well, I'll say that, but I'll put some brackets around it depending on what happens at home.
It's a long time. It's all right. 12 months is a long time.
But we've got it penciled in.
Yeah,
beautiful. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
No, thanks very much, David.
All right. Thank you.
Well, that wraps up QMHE 2024. And, geez, we had so much fun there. And I can't wait to get back there next year.
Scored some great goodies too. Thank you, Ben, for that wonderful hand-painted figure you gifted me.
Yeah.
Isn't that ridiculous? Isn't that ridiculous? 'Cause, I mean, I wasn't there. I only heard about it from you guys. Like, because Ian sent me a message saying, "Oh, look what I got," some kind of thing. That's crazy.
Oh, I'm wrapped, mate. That's pride of place in the cabinet, mate. That's
I'd like to see that happen more often.
Yeah. And a big thank you to Bruce from Drake Collectables for gifting Dave and myself some couple of 150 scale Kenworth trucks.
Yeah,
which are just amazing. These things are amazing. You open the doors and you can put your finger inside, and the seat's actually sprung as well. So the seat suspension works and everything. It's just amazing detail.
It was absolutely crazy.
Just one thing that I wanted to mention, since we're sort of wrapping up. There was an event, and as is always the case, like if you don't know about a certain event, you only hear about it after it's gone.
Yes.
Right. One of them was the Plamo 2024 event in, I think it's Birmingham, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really cool looking sci-fi type. You know, I think it's mostly a Gundam type expo.
Oh yeah, cool.
I can only find out so much information about it because I'm not really in the know like other people would be. But really impressive looking models. And what really caught my eye was the thing you get for winning. Like, you know, like in place of like a medal or a plaque or whatever it is. It's like this weird like golden, well, I suppose if it's gold if you win gold, I suppose. Golden like sort of plaque thing that looks like it's metal, but I don't think it is. And it has like Plamo written on it. And it's like it's huge. It's like bigger than your hand.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was really, really, really striking and unique and very three-dimensional. It wasn't like, it wasn't cheap looking at all. It's very impressive looking. And, yeah, really impressive models. And I hadn't heard about it, and it seems that I hope someone in the podcast sphere picks up on it and mentions it or something. Because I don't know much. I can only know that it existed and it had some cool looking models that I've seen. I don't know anything else about it. Yeah,
Well,
I just wanted to mention it because,
no, that's cool. Absolutely. I think
normally there's a lot of these shows that go on without our notice, and unless someone sends us an email saying, "Can you please promote this show?"
Yeah.
We won't know about it, and you won't know about it.
No. Speaking of shows, there's another one coming up in South Australia, which we need to mention, and that's the South Australian Scale Model Expo 2024. That's going to be running Saturday 28th to Sunday 29th of September 2024. And it's going to be held at the John Dunning Sports Centre in Kent Town, South Australia. So just go to their online section, which is sapma.com.au, and that link there will then take you through to the competition as well. So I'd love to get over there. I was supposed to get over there last year, couldn't because of some issues that cropped up. This year we've been back to back with a whole heap of other comps that we've been heading off to, but we really need to put this one down the calendar because it's only 7-hour drive there. We need to sort of get out to this one. So
a lot quicker than our last drive.
Yes, that's right. It was.
There's nothing like sitting in the car for 14 hours straight.
Well, a bit more than 4. Well, I think I can.
And that's one of the reasons why I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Because you can't fit three guys and luggage and a whole stack of model kits in one car.
Not in my small car, you can't. No. I think we did about 3,800 kilometres round trip.
Yeah.
All up. So it was pretty.
A nice little jaunt.
Yeah, pretty epic. I think about flying next time. And of course, let's not forget that we've got Scale ACT coming up in November also. But there'll be some more news about that on our next episode. And once again, we're really excited to be part of that and can't wait to find out more information. But that'll be coming up in our next episode. I think that kind of wraps it up for me, gents.
Yep.
Been a full week.
It has been a full week. Been a full fortnight. Been a full year.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we'll be back in a fortnight. Until then, Ian.
Adios.
Julian.
See ya.
Well, thanks for listening, guys. And don't forget, if you want some more modelling goodness, go along to modelpodcast.com. There's a listing of scale modelling podcasts from around the world for your listening pleasure. And we also recommend that you check out our good friend Stuart at Black Hat Scale Models YouTube channel. Really great content there to help you with your modelling. Go check out Stuart, Black Hat Scale Models on YouTube. That's it from me. Thanks everybody for listening, and we're back in a fortnight.